therapist, look before you look. Visit the college's website at cmto.com. Look before you look.
Happy birthday. It's so good to catch up for a brunch call.
Thank you. And what's this package you sent me?
Just a little surprise. I did some shopping at tsc.ca. Go ahead, open it.
Is this the pink torn bag I wanted at Lexington and made a forever prize?
Oh, let's see. 6 minutes 35 seconds. What did you just do? What did you do? What are you fucking doing? You realize the last 4 exploits you did were clicking on something I didn't click on to open up an application I don't fucking use. You're fucking retarded. The last 4 exploits you did were clicking on things almost what I'm clicking on to open apps I'm not using. You're fucking retarded. You're retarded. I outrank you. Kill this piece of shit. The last 4, kill this one. You fucking just started him off, and he did the same thing 3 times in a row. Get rid of him.
One wrong move, and it could result in serious.
Oh, safety information for the public. Again, look at what you're interrupting. Fucking retard. That's all I thought today. You're late to the show, buddy. You're late. Wait. It's going to be a drive-by viewing. No visiting. You are fucking retarded. It's been 10 fucking minutes. Everything at my end's been ready to go. And every time I turn around, there's another delay waiting for what dummy on the other end of the line's doing. You don't want me to close, so you're, what do you call it, COINTELPRO, NSA, NASA, whatever the fuck. It all runs through 5 eyes. You know what that is? Royal Canadian Navy. You know what that is? Who I'm related to. The ship's right down here. I could go walk it where the fucking computers are. You are fucking stupid.
Surrounded by family.
Oh, this guy thinks he's in the army. Okay, I'll fuck you. Keep pressing the fucking same button over and over. You've all got your own style. On the internet, everybody leaves a signature. World War II. They told the guys, if you make a mistake, don't correct it. Don't get in the habit of correcting it and make everything perfect. Because that's how we know who's who. Even though all the messages are encrypted and unsigned. If you get captured and you start doing everything perfectly, well, no. You fucking retard. Jesus Christ. Did he smoke his joint and get off? No. What? 85 minutes. Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. We're going to change the name bullshit to bullshit. So my dad got kicked out of school in a certain grade. Which one was it? At the school down in Washington. Because they gave the test. You know, this is bullshit on the test.
And
back then they could just kick you out.
You want to stand out where your customers are online? Switch to Search Kings.
You're like Reality Kings and Rim King. Hey, there's a guy rolling around in a truck. He used to have a different company name on it. Now it says Rim King. The Rim King. He sells rims. Okay. Look at his truck. He's got Krylon painted garbage rims at them.
Well, the ramps are closed from
What the fuck? What are you demonstrating, bro?
Mavis. Southbound Meadowvale, southbound Port Union as well. These ramps to the eastbound 401 are
Reality Kings. How many short, big, dick white guys can pretend to have sex with this black girl? She's pretending, oh, that's so amazing. That's so.
So now we have.
You think you're getting under our skin? What you're doing to our women? Hey, we don't consider ourselves to own them. But we know how much they're acting when they say how big it is. All this other shit.
Into the collectors. So you may as well just east of Kipling transfer to the collectors there, and then you'll avoid this delay.
Ask a dyke what that means. The one with the boy with his little finger in the dike. Ask what that means.
At Broad Street in Whitby, right lanes closed, minor delays. Westbound 401 through Avenue and the Express, 2 left lanes are closed. It's pretty busy through there.
85 minutes to get
west
nothing.
at the Allen and West
Grocery
Street
stores
Keel.
selling hand sanitizer and water
Do not
bottles.
lanes are blocked, but so far so good through there.
And the
So if you
cars.
want to get into the collectors and
Nothing.
avoid the jam up,
Oh, what did you
from
just
Avenue through to
run
the
roughshod
Allen
over?
Express,
Are
just
you
transfer,
tuning into the website? You're
from
listening in the
Avenue
background in your
into the
shop.
collectors, and you
Doing
can
what you
avoid
do
it.
while I'm doing
West
what I
401
do.
west to Guelph line,
Guess what? So is
Left
anybody else
slow.
watching this and wants to get
North 404
information?
through
They're
Steeles,
doing the
it's three
exact
right
same
lanes
thing.
shut down tonight. We have the Steeles
You're not
ramps to the North
stopping
404
nothing. It's called
closed.
parallelism.
North 404 ramps to the
At least that's what I
highway
call it.
407 and Highway 7 also blocked off. Celebrating over 30 years of custom decks and happy customers, Hickory Dickory Decks offers the widest selection of low-maintenance decking. Enjoy life outdoors. Visit decks.ca. Next report is at 10:31, and with the forecast, here's
bro, that's
Carlin.
horrible. Why'd you
We're
do
heading
that?
down to an overnight low of 6 degrees. Areas further north will be dropping down close to the
That
freezing
was
mark. That's
horrible.
why there's that frost advisory in place for areas north and northeast of the city.
Oh, Doug
Tomorrow,
Ford saying,
20
yo,
degrees,
God, he's
mostly
wrong,
sunny,
but
but
hey,
we
he
do
did
have
that hours
some
ago
smoke
today.
across the
How
region
come the
that
idiot
will
watching us right now doesn't know we did that? What happened to the 4 other guys? Yeah, the 5th one did the same thing 3 times in a row. When I go to click on something, it's going to click something else. Oh, he'll think it's himself and get frustrated.
And a high of 18 degrees. Tonight's overnight low, 6 degrees. Right now in downtown Toronto, we have a clear sky, and it is 12 degrees.
Whatever the
at
fuck you
Pearson
do.
Airport, similar
Dumb as hell.
conditions, and 10. 680 News Time, 10:24.
All of us have a role to play in safely reopening Ontario's schools. That's why the Ontario government asked doctors, health officials, school boards, and educators to help build a comprehensive plan to keep our kids safe. Working together, our plan includes physical distancing, putting more nurses in schools, masking, enhanced cleaning and hand sanitization, and other measures to ensure the well-being of students and school staff. To learn more, please visit ontario.ca/reopening schools.
Yeah,
Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
yeah.
Your children are returning to the classroom during a pandemic. What does that mean for you and your family? Their health, your health. 680 News gets the answers.
When you need to know.
This is 680 News.
Sick Kids has released initial findings from their school simulation study, which found 2-meter physical distancing was not possible with more than 12 to 15 students per classroom.
No, you fucking idiots. You were told 2 months ago to come up with
32 feet by 24 feet in size. And with those room sizes, it was not possible to maintain a 2-meter distance between students and accommodate more than 12 to 15 students in the class, even with the desks against all 4 walls. There was also crowding at
Why
entry
would you put
points,
them
even
against
with
all
staggered
4
class
walls?
starts
You
and
got to
fewer
put it a
students
meter away from the
in
wall,
public
or
and
you
private
got 2
schools.
meters from.
Advice, don't do this.
You are
It's
fucking
very,
retarded.
very
You don't know what
stupid.
equidistant means?
Metrolinx
Okay,
officials saying
here's the
Americans
wall.
to free
The
ride
desk
and
should be
GO
1
train
meter
tag
from it.
by riding on the outside.
You put it all the way to the wall, you have
Spokesperson
to have 2
Anne
meters of
Marie
space.
Higgins
Wow,
to
you
those
guys
on
don't
the
know
kitchen
anything.
line who spotted the stuntman hanging off the side of the moving train. The stunt, which Aikens called incredibly dangerous, reckless, and a moronic act, is illegal and ended in the man's arrest. In 60 seconds, we'll check
And
in with
they're
Richard
not
Senator
going to
from
put the
Business Center.
importance.
680 time 9:20,
See how they do.
10:25.
You know what? That was really good. I just need you to try one.
How old is this fucking guy? And he still hasn't figured out he speaks ambiguously. He make mistakes early. Oh, by the way, precautious, not a word. Oh, the white girl tried to pretend like she's ghetto too, because they heard a real ghetto woman talking about certain things. They'll play it again.
Bank. Together we thrive.
Uh,
Rate subject to change without notice. A high ratio mortgage is a personal mortgage with a down payment.
Just certain uses of the word, and you do, but oh, you're speaking English wrong. We're not talking English.
For details.
It's time.
I will call it Toronto
It's time
Facts
for
Law,
a
because I don't know
new,
what else to
even
call it.
safer Sick Kids.
It's not English.
So it's time to
We're
get
not
loud
speaking
for
your
Sick
language.
Kids. All September
Yeah,
long,
and as soon as that was done talking,
walk or ride wherever we are. Fundraising every step of the way. Join us.
they're trying to associate dumbness with the, precautious, not a word. Is it now? Is it now a word? You need to be cautious. You can take precautions. If you take precautions, you are being cautious. Cautious is always in advance. If you're being cautious, you are taking precautions. You understand those 2 different words? And then the other idiot. Line 1, Bloor Danforth, Young University, Shepherd. Why are you saying both? After all these years, you're supposed to say one or the other to save time. It's much faster to say line 1 in Young. Line 1, Young.
Wind and solar and other renewable sources. The challenge is
Line 2, Bluer.
Figuring out how
Well,
to do this
bluer.
24 hours a day when the sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow. Of course, new battery technology.
When
will be
does
key
the
in
sun
that.
not shine or the
Microsoft
wind
is out
not
with a
blow?
similar pledge, and last week, Uber said it's aiming to have all its cars.
We've been pumping the
powered by
ocean back
electricity
for,
also by
like,
the
I
year
don't know exactly when, a couple
2030.
100, 300 years,
All right,
something.
pretty strong Monday on the markets,
You're
driven
going
by
to tell
some big
us.
deal
Oh, the
making
wind
news.
sometimes doesn't blow. Your
NVIDIA
windmills
stock
won't work
closed
because
up
it sometimes doesn't blow.
5.8%, one of the biggest gainers in the
Really?
S&P. After
Didn't you
announcing
make
plans to
slavery
buy
illegal because we were
member
better at it than you?
holdings for
Oh, we mixed
$40
blood with them, made them
billion.
owners in the fucking
Very
thing.
much into AI.
Oh,
That's a big
you
part
you
of
you
this
played
deal.
one race off the
Oracle stock
other,
closing
made
up
it this way now.
4.3%
Oh, you'll
after
be the
it
overseer over this.
Microsoft to buy the
We don't
US
do none of that.
operations of TikTok.
The kids knew inherently this is our land and these are our people working it.
To 27,993. S&P up 1.25%. The Nasdaq up 200.
Why do you think Canadian Army boys, their kids smoke drone?
Closing up to 16,360.
And they do assassination
Canadian
missions in
retail
Colombia.
news
Don't
here
ask
at
me about that
Absalom.
because I got nothing to do
Mountain
with it.
Equipment
Wow, I say
Co-op
assassination, you
says its
flip
board
out.
of
That's the
directors
only
has
time
approved a deal
you've
in
ever
which
hit a keyword that makes
Kingswood
sense.
Capital Management will acquire
That's the only time
NBC's
ever.
assets,
Wow.
including most of its retail stores, and this will end NEC's run as a cooperative. Canadian dollar higher to 75.84 cents US. This
We
is
should check their
680
website, see if those spot things go on sale. I'll borrow the money of somebody to go get it if I have to. I want one to play, just like this paper. I want one to play with so we know what it does not do. Right?
Donate online at Cars for
And all these idiots buying the Gen 4, because it must be better.
You'll benefit a child.
Why would it be?
Maximum tax credit.
Remember, they had Spot, 6 different other models, and then Spot 3.
Toronto District School Board is getting ready to
You're going
safely
4.
welcome students
But not
and
as many
staff
clips
back
on it to hang it to
school
yourself. The
beginning
fucking buttons are not
September 15th. For all
intuitive.
the information
It's
you
not
need,
bright.
including school start dates,
It doesn't show you where the
academic
antenna is.
checklists,
The
and
Gen 3 is
requirement
easy to
for
work
all
with.
students and staff to wear masks in TDSB schools, buildings, and on
We need all the kids to wear them,
Please
even though they
visit
don't get sick.
tdsb.on.ca,
The contradictory information coming up the
whether
station's
attending
incredible.
school in person
Oh,
or
while we were
online,
offline,
or working
they're telling us,
together
oh,
for a safe
kids don't
return.
get sick. And...
680
Okay.
News Time, 10:30.
You know, it's funny, all these kids wearing masks. If it did, it doesn't, but if it did prevent them from spreading germs, you're ruining their immune system. If they go from daycare, not junior kindergarten, daycare to grade 12, we used to have grade 13 plus OCAS.
Close proximity to each
Okay,
other.
so whatever the fuck it's called.
The police say it's too soon to say if these homicides are linked.
They got something else to say. Yeah, it is too soon to say. So why is that officer saying they're linked? Oh, I got all these commonalities. They're only 8 miles apart. They happen 3 days apart. Both guys almost kind of sort of have us. No, they don't. They don't have the same skin tone or ethnicity. The names don't come from the same place. No, one guy's sleeping in the Humber Trail, the other one's in fucking Rexdale in front of a mosque. What the fuck are you talking about?
Three chief medical officers. Vegas looks to
He's
extend
done,
the Western
no?
Conference.
He'd be hanging around the
Final
mosque
Game
if he was
While
homeless.
The Pittsburgh Steelers look strong in a Week 1 win. Sports at 45. Stocks kicking off the new trading week with a rally. TSX up more than 100. Dow gains more than 3.
And I know there's, I'm going to call them white people out there complain. I know there's white Muslims who complain, oh, how come those brown skinned ragheads don't do soup kitchens and things? It's at every fucking temple, that's why. They eat, it's inherent. It's family.
So we'll start on the eastbound 401 where the
So the Sikhs have an actual methodology to it. You save all the money you can, you get as far as you can to the next place, to the next temple, and they'll take care of you there, food, somewhere to sleep.
And also, it
And then you
looks
go on
like
to the next one, and the next one, and the next one until you're safe.
I'll find
They
it.
got a whole methodology to it.
Delays on the eastbound 401 from approaching the 400 in the express. This is because they've shut down the express.
So why was the homeless guy not near the mosque?
Approaching Young, so just
Oh, it's only 5 kilometers away. Yeah, in a straight line. You want to look on a book? It's about 10 fucking miles. I guarantee you can't just walk 5 kilometers straight.
So it's just very
The Humber River ain't a straight line.
transfer. And once you do, though,
The trail,
express lanes are
not
moving
100%
very
familiar
nicely.
with meander,
So
because
continuing
these
on the
trails
eastbound 401,
meander,
there is the
because
ramp to Brown
the-
Street that's been shut down.
you could fit
That's
a
because we have the
10-mile
right
running
lane
track
closed as
into
you go
4
to Brown
miles
Street
if
and
you
with the
meander.
westbound
You
401
ever see a
Avenue
cyclocross
Road,
track?
the express
Looks
through
retarded.
to, the
A
Allen,
little
2 left
cube,
lanes are
right?
blocked off, so we are seeing delays through here. And then west of the Allen, to about Kiel and
I'll
the
smoke my
Collectors
joint when I
into
feel it. I
Plains
don't
Park,
have to
but
be
it's nice
useful.
drive on the westbound 401 tonight. Even those delays west to Guelph line have eased off. North 404 through Steeles, 3 right lanes are closed. Not a huge problem, just
Where's
a touch
Batio?
slower than normal. The Steeles
Wasn't
routes
here
to
all
the North
day.
404 are closed. Northbound 404
The guy, the city guy, was calling
407
me.
and Highway 7 are also blocked off. The customer appreciation event at Leon's has been held over. It's your last chance to shop some of our lowest prices of the year. It's Wednesday.
No, someone from the fucking building
details.
management calling,
Next
just in
report
case
is
you didn't
10:41.
catch it.
Here's the forecast with Carl
The
Lance.
city of Toronto's going to call me from a personal cell phone.
6 degrees will be the overnight low. Mainly clear conditions. Frost developing for areas north and
And when I
northeast
say
of
the
city.
manhole
That's why
cover, he
those
keeps going,
frost
no,
advisories
the
are in
building.
place as temperatures get
The city
mighty
wouldn't do
close
that.
to that freezing mark.
They go,
And then
yeah,
tomorrow,
the manhole
mostly
cover.
sunny,
There was
high
some
of
other stuff
20
too.
degrees.
Because they know I might be on a speakerphone. I might be right next to the landlord. The landlord, where I fucking live. This ain't about being at work or the church where you can go and come. Fucking idiots. I know who the fuck. Why would he call me 8 fucking times?
Police say they're now considering.
Where's Batio? He's not
as
here
they
all
continue
day.
to
Where is he?
investigate the stabbing deaths of 2 men in that area just over the past
Just like the
week.
cops. You don't live here, you just work here. You love here for people. I work here. So,
Toronto Police
what I got to do with
Inspector
anything?
Nzinga says at this stage in their investigation, it's too soon to confirm if the stabbing death of 58-year-old Mohammed Aslam Zavis outside a mosque in the Kipling and Rexdale area Saturday night is linked to
Now,
the death of
you got
Ranpreet
both?
Singh, a man in
I
his
didn't know there
late
was 2
30s
homicide
who'd been living
squads.
under a bridge on
That
the West
concerns
Humber
me.
Trail. His body was found in the area last
You got
Monday.
both homicide
He, too,
squads on
had
this.
been
I
stabbed.
guarantee
Another
there's more
similarity, both the victims
data
were the
that
same
links to this.
ethnicity.
No, they weren't.
As we ask for the public's assistance, I want to
Look,
assure the
ethnicity is
community
brown.
that the Toronto
They're
Police
brown.
Service
No, they're not.
are working diligently on these cases. Members of both homicide teams are working together at 23 Division. We also have enhanced
Toronto, right?
patrols in the area.
No, because these assholes got a 22
Investigators
division
are
in the
asking
next city in, the next...
community members rather to be aware of their
Notice what
surroundings
ambiguity
and to
is.
report any suspicious people or behavior to police. They've released security camera footage
That'll help.
of the suspect wanted in connection with the stabbing.
I'd like to report
outside the
myself
mosque.
because I'm
You can
suspicious
see
of
it on our
somebody.
680
And they
News
said to
website.
report people if
From
they're
Martino,
suspicious.
680
I'm
News.
suspicious.
680 News Time.
And these are where they go,
10:35.
you're
You may
suspicious.
notice It's a
No.
little hazier than we've
You
been
are
used to
suspicious
here in
of
the
me.
GTA. And
When they say that, I always go,
cooler as
who am I
well.
suspicious of?
Turns out smoke
And they
from
go,
wildfires along
no,
the west coast are making
no,
their
you're
way to
suspicious. I
our
go, yeah,
region.
who am I suspicious
680's
of? I'm not
Michelle
suspicious of
Mackey
anybody. I don't need your
explains
help.
how that's
I'm fine,
affecting
thanks.
us.
Officials in the U.S. Pacific Northwest
Real
are calling
gangsters
this
from way
an
back.
unprecedented
We're fine,
wildfire
thanks.
season.
We don't
And
need your
now
help,
we're
sir.
seeing the effects
It's the
here
only
at
reason
home.
they have to talk
With
to
all
you.
that smoke from the wildfires,
If you didn't ask for
billowing
help,
into
there's
the
no reason for them to
atmosphere
talk
as
to
it
you.
gets caught in
If
the
you
jet
committed a
stream
crime,
and
they
moves
should be
across
arresting
the
you
continent.
or in
So
the process
that's
of
how
trying
that
to
smoke is getting
nail you
across
with this.
to our area here
You're
in the
suspicious, so
GTA.
what?
680 meteorologist Carl Lamb says
Don't know, there's been some break-ins of cars on here. When I say, no, there hasn't, you arguing with me when we own every fucking car on that street makes you look like a
But it looks like
goddamn
we'll be around
cocksucking
18
retard.
to 20 degrees for daytime highs on Tuesday. You can thank the smoke for
That's
that
what white
because
people used to
it's
do
kind
to
of
Down
preventing
syndrome
a lot
kids.
of that
Yes, it is.
sunshine from doing its
Yes, it
job
is.
and warming us up.
Lamb expects the smoke to begin filtering out by the end of the week. I'm Michelle Mackey.
Now, one time I used the word retard to be mad because I'm mimicking you.
680 News, back to school during COVID-19.
Researchers at Sick Kids are releasing the findings of a new study that looked at the effects of COVID-19 health and safety practices on students and teachers returning to school. That simulation included over 190 students and 15 teachers from both public and independent schools.
Why did you have
It
students
was
there?
not possible for students to keep a
Why
distance
did you
of
have
2 meters
students there?
if there were more than 12 to 15 of them in a standard classroom setting. Students were unsure of what to do with their masks during recess, and those in younger grades needed
Throw them out,
new
put another one
masks
up.
throughout the
Oh yeah,
day.
you got to go
It
through
was
4
also
of them a
difficult
day.
for teachers to
$5
maintain
a day.
distance while supervising students,
So
while
25,
supporting
50,
a
100,
conversation
and let's
with
say
parents during
$10,
pickup and drop-off.
$115 a month.
The Toronto
Oh,
District
for
School
you,
Board has
for all you
once
white
again
people
delayed
screaming,
the
oh,
start of
every
virtual
grade has to
learning
wear
for
them because
parents. The
them
board
niggers
says
could give me
that
something
the start of
catching.
virtual learning
They don't use the term
from
catching
Thursday
anymore.
to
Why?
next
Because it's in the
Tuesday,
books.
September the 22nd.
Oh, we
The board
fed them
making a
some
decision
scraps
after
and we
seeing its
scalded the
findings, students
pan
opting
against
to learn
anything that could be
online
catching.
just over the past week. That increase will
feeding the
require more
niggers
teachers
that
and a
did the
change
work.
to the timetable.
You trust them
Many
to do work and pay
Catholics
them,
said
but you
teachers
won't.
were up late before the
You
first day
won't
of
eat for
school,
the
still
same
struggling to figure out
pot
exactly
that
who
heats up.
and what they're going to be teaching.
You have to,
According to
it's
TCDSB
in the
trustee
books.
Norm
There's
Dupascal,
reasons we don't
the
use certain
mix-up
words.
is coming from the integration of online
I
learning.
need a fourth one.
TNE Danny from City News reports.
Because there were a lot of shifting numbers between virtual and going back to school, like parents who were
Well, there
changing
were.
their minds very much up to
A lot
the
of
minute
shifting
they
numbers.
started
Yeah,
school
they were
as
all
on
going to
Saturday.
online.
As of Sunday night,
They
some
were all
teachers
going to
still
online.
hadn't
That's
been
not,
told what
it's
they
not,
were
excuse me,
teaching,
a lot of
even though
shifting
they
numbers.
weren't prepared for
There's
the
two numbers.
students
When one goes down, the other goes
A
up.
lot of our secondary
That's simple.
schools were ready to go. Teachers knew exactly who they were teaching. But we are still working
So
through
the
some
school board will tell you,
scheduling,
you have to send us a letter telling us that you're homeschooling.
Grades
They don't.
10, 11, and 12 come out.
Oh, well, if you don't, well, what? Report it to the province and they'll what? Attempt to pass that on to the truancy officer. There ain't one. There's no truancy in this province. I know I skipped for fucking years. I was begging to go to school. They wouldn't fucking hook me up. They'll send the Children's Aid Society, which is its own private company, to decide whether or not what homeschooling is legal. If you've never registered at any school board, there's nobody to write the letter to. So when you read what the law says, if they haven't been registered, you don't write a letter. If they've been registered, the school board says you must write them a letter. It's what the law says. It doesn't say you must write the school board. Oh, did they change the rule? Maybe.
Says
We're talking nuances, nothing.
The second wave
Semantics.
of the pandemic.
We're not there yet, but the numbers are increasing.
Premier Doug Ford says he hopes to God he's wrong, but the second wave is coming. And when it gets here, it's not the whole province that's going to feel the response.
As they show up,
Only
they
the
take up
big
less
three
space, don't
hotspots, Toronto, Peel Region, and Ottawa.
Be it the economy, be it the schools.
It's all.
And we're reviewing this very carefully. We're monitoring the situation. We've had the conversation with all three chief medical officers.
And the Premier says those three officers are still telling him the new COVID cases are not coming
officers just
from
take
bars and
information to
restaurants,
government hands,
but from
though.
social gatherings.
Not all of us, not everyone.
Oh, I'm not knighted, and none of these motherfuckers are doing the roles of knights. Yeah, and Templars.
Everything's
It's
okay.
a surge.
It's coming back.
Value. It's like,
To bite us.
where are you? Over.
I'm
It's
Mark Douglas.
just.
Coming up at 10:41, we'll check the roads and we'll check your forecast.
680 News Time, 10:39.
So there I am, driving home in winter. Well,
Look how
other
small those
cars
are.
are like slipping and sliding. But luckily, I adulted hard and switched to my winter tires early. And when I told my dad that, he was like, because you are an adult. And I'm like, nuh-uh. And he's like, yaw. And I'm like, nuh-uh. And he's like,
Put the chill back into winter driving by switching to winter tires early at Ford Service.
There's
Beat the
probably
rush
two
and book your
seats in all of
appointment
these.
Today.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price of gas will not change at midnight. It will hold at just under $1 a liter. And a heads up if you're taking
It's
transit
94.9 over here.
Subway service
It
is
went from
ending early
96.9
on a
to
significant
94.9. Oh, it'll stay the same. It'll stay the same. It'll stay the same.
Starting in 20
Drop 2
minutes,
cents.
shuttle buses will be
Royal
running between
Dutch
Finch
Shell,
and St.
PLC.
Cloud stations
Go
because
look at the
of
fucking
scheduled
places.
maintenance.
No words on
Keep
any.
in mind that same closure
The
will
word
go into
shell
effect
don't
until
appear
11
anywhere.
p.m. Tuesday.
It took me
through
8.5 years
Thursday.
to know. Longer, because I've been up and down this strip forever and never thought about it. I live right here, never noticed.
Love are all online. PC Express online grocery lets you shop your
Anyway,
favorite
see how small
groceries
those are?
from home
It's the same
or your
fruit.
phone.
They all
at
approximate the same
in-store
size.
prices
Slow
with
dress,
freshness
real close.
guaranteed or your money back. And don't worry about missing out on your local store's promos and flyers. We've got those too. All with same-day service and convenient pickup or delivery options. Available at loblaws.ca and superstore.ca. PC Express. Your shop is our command.
It's the hardest
Yes,
working
so-
room in the house, so why not revitalize your kitchen with these 3 tips from Tasco? 1. Go with light colors to brighten your space. 2. Create large work areas to make food prep easier. And 3. Take advantage of up to
Create large areas.
$500 off
You don't think
all
Asian at all, eh?
appliances at Tasco.
Look at how much food a Cantonese restaurant throws around. Look how many people they serve, and it's hygienic. Okay, that's the deal with all the disposable shit. It's for hygiene purposes. You put one of them as cookie? Okay, I gotta flip
680
these
News
around.
Time, 10:41. Checking your drive. Here's Craig here. This report is brought to you by Leon. So on and off the eastbound.
This is Craig
401
Gear. Who's the other
ramps
guy?
Closed Trafalgar,
Is it Michael
Mississauga
Ranger? Who's the
Road
other
to
guy?
Mavis, southbound Meadowvale, and
So-
southbound Port Union ramps to the eastbound 401 all shut down. So other ramps
This
that are
one or
closed
this
to the
one?
east 401 ramps
to the
biggest, the
west,
smallest.
407 and 2
This
Broad
one might
Street
only have
shut
one seat,
down.
maybe two.
We have a
This one
delay
might, I don't think it'll have more than
eastbound 401,
two.
So east of the 400 to approaching Young, the express lanes are
I
closed,
didn't
so
get
it's
the
busy
blueberry shit.
as you approach that transfer out of the express into the collectors. We're backed
So
up in the
blueberries are
express.
not
We're
a
approaching the
species, they're a
400.
type.
So if you just
So all
want
my
to,
worries,
either
we gotta see
join
the
the eastbound
blueberries, mean
401
nothing.
in the collectors and stay there before you get here.
But I love
or
giving
the
white people
transfer
something
there
to
where
think
it's
that I'm
once
worried
into
about.
express and collectors east of Kipling. Just pick
He's
the
screaming at his
collectors,
army
and
buddies
then
that
you
he's
can avoid
related
all
to
the rest.
the
The express is gonna be
save all the
closed
blueberries. What's that
just
about?
shortly
He's going
after
crazy
that
about plants in the
transfer.
woods.
That's
Like, is that a
east
drug
of
code
Kipling
thing?
anyhow, so if you don't have to use
They never played a 45. The sound of it makes you feel alive.
On the eastbound 401. At Brock Street, the right lane's
You ever
closed,
try fucking
so
using
heads
a
up through Whitby.
matchlock with a
Westbound
lighter?
401 approaching Brock Street now. We
Doesn't
have
work with a
down
flintlock,
those
doesn't
single
it? You
lanes,
can't
down those
change
single
the
lanes,
part.
so
It's
2 lanes
good.
taken out.
Fucking
So we are getting a
time
delay
traveling
now on the westbound
scientists
401
for
approaching
what am I
Brock Street
talking
in
about?
Whitby.
Nothing.
Delays east of or west of Avenue Road, right through to the Allen in the express. 2 left lanes are closed, and just watch out. If you're in the collectors west of the Allen, we have 2 left lanes blocked off, but it's moving well. North 404.
So you have to consider if land is contaminated, you want to avoid eating the food on it at the same point. If the land everywhere is contaminated,
are shut down as well too.
what do you do? So you want plants that'll not die, but also not hyper concentrate.
Appreciation event at Leon's has been held over. It's your last chance to shop some of our lowest prices of the year. Ends Wednesday. Leons.ca for details. Next report at 10:51 with the forecast. Here's Carl Lamb.
It is going to be a cool evening across the GTA, mainly clear and an overnight low of 6 degrees. We have frost advisories for areas north and northeast of the city where temperatures will get close to the freezing mark. 20 degrees for your Tuesday. Mostly sunny conditions and a bit of a southwest wind as well. And then for Wednesday, sun and cloud, 25 degrees, while the humidex near 30. And it's quite breezy as well as some evening rain showers develop as well. Tonight's overnight low, 6 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got a clear sky at 12 degrees, 10 at Pearson Airport. 680 east, I'm 1044.
So if you want plants with larger fruit, sure, pick the ones that have larger fruit. But it doesn't mean the larger fruit compared to the smaller fruit on the same tree will necessarily be larger than the small fruit. It doesn't mean that. There's all sorts of reasons that could happen. But if you know, if you've been working with a plant forever, you will know, and everybody else won't. They're using like carpet glue.
Hey, your car's looking pretty sweet. Did you just get it?
This is the world. Canadians are so stupid. They're on the package that it's one serving. On the package, they got to add a sticker for export that says refrigerate unused portions. Guess what? After you've opened it, you're going to turn it upside down and read that. So I'm scrubbing it off because it adheses room plastics. And this shit will get dusty and sticky forever. It'll never come off. Once I start using these for the plant dishes, the water dishes, I don't want to wash them ever. It's 2:45.
A clear sky and 12 degrees in downtown Toronto. Good evening. I'm Asher Ryan.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here are the top stories right now.
Toronto police are working to determine whether there's a link between the stabbing deaths of a man outside of Rexdale Mosque over the weekend and a man in his 30s whose body was discovered along the West Humber Trail 5 days prior. If they are linked, investigators say they could be dealing with a serial killer. Our daytime
Or just some fucking, like, I'm going to throw stereotypes in general. Some fucking meth head fucking hateful fucking
wildfires thousands of kilometers away in the
Nazi
western
skinhead.
US.
Well, you always have to say Nazi skinhead. You can't just say skinhead. This is ARA, which is anti-Nazi skinheads. Oh yeah, they look the same. They're kicking the shit out of each other. Holy fuck. 1980s in Toronto. On the radio, on the news, they're like, yeah. There's reports that yesterday a large group, something like 100 youth or 30 youth or whatever, are seen walking to, I forget where, with baseball bats, but no balls or gloves. I was like, if we ever do that, make sure we bring the gloves and balls. I was like 5 or 6 years old.
After a power play goal from Joel Kiviranta, and now this game is heading to overtime, so you can catch it all on Sportsnet. It's an off day for the Blue Jays as they get set for a big 3-game series in the Bronx tomorrow night against the Yankees. But the club learned today that outfielder Billy McKinney was claimed off of waivers by the Milwaukee Brewers, joining Daniel Vogelbach as the second Blue Jay to be claimed by Milwaukee this season. Meantime, we've got a Monday Night Football doubleheader to close out Week 1 of the NFL season.
Oh, that's how many times it's been recycled. That doesn't even make sense.
26-16, and early on in the first quarter, the Tennessee Titans and
I know old drunk people from Northern Ontario say dumb shit.
Who are falling to Dallas in the first round. The Calgary Flames have removed the interim tag from head coach Jeff Ward and reportedly handed him a 2-year contract to officially become the 20th coach in franchise history.
So I get the lighters for free.
Every hour. Anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
680 News Time, 1047.
If I buy a certain amount over and over and over.
Oh, beautiful. That jacket is your color.
No, this car, silly.
You look especially beautiful in this car. This is very Bellato Mall. You look fantastic in everything here.
At all 9 dealerships?
All 9 dealerships.
That's a lot of makes.
Now, in the last year, this was the second opportunity to sell a lighter. So.
You never say that when I'm buying clothes.
But I have no interest in borrowing your clothes.
Part of the Zankin Auto Group.
I'm here with Bill Coy of Coy Brothers, and we're talking about professional bull riding.
Toro Titan bull riding, that is.
I'm more of a clown myself.
I can't see the discoloration on the image. Oh, because I've got so much blood.
Other brands of zero-turn mowers.
Toro Titan mowers are comfortable for those long hours.
If that cleared up today, I would lose my goddamn mind. I went a year without a suicide disease episode. I started all crazy. I said, did I not have it? Did I imagine that? It'll never come back. I don't want it to ever go away. If I had to choose between ingrown hairs and suicide disease, I would keep the suicide disease and get rid of this white tissue.
18 people, including 4 minors, in connection with a large
minors under the age of 16 or under the age of 14?
Investigators say the arrests were made following searches in both Brampton and London, Ontario.
The age of majority is 19.
$725,000 worth of fentanyl and methamphetamine, as well as a number of weapons and over $50,000 in cash. The suspects are facing a total of 35 charges, including
even if you follow my Facebook, you know, some of my homeboys, some of my people.
Officers say their ages range from 13 up to 46. Toronto police say they made a 4th arrest connected to a pair of robberies. The first happened back in January when a pair of masked men, one armed with a knife, robbed a store in the Caledonia and Rogers Road area. The second in August, when 3 masked men robbed a bank in the Caledonia and Eglinton area, while a 4th suspect remained outside in a waiting taxi cab. 3 of the suspects had already been arrested, while the 4th was found and taken into custody over the weekend. A 19-year-old is facing numerous charges, including robbery and conspiracy to commit an indictable offense. 680 News Time, 1049. Well, voters in New Brunswick
I forget what I was going to say when I heard 13.
A majority victory.
A gamble by Hicks to send his minority government to the polls after just 21 months has paid off, capturing
you should speak out against it.
Legislature.
I'm not speaking out for it. No, I'm not going to speak out against it. No.
It's the first time since 2003 that
I'm not doing nothing. People that kill people. Master Plan show. They stopped listing the track titles that week and they started listing them in the next week. I don't know. I can't. But in the song, they talk about how everybody's saying, you should do a song saying guns are bad. No. Gun not doing nothing. People that kill people.
Streams of Truth, brought to you by Sportsnet Now.
Choosing which game to watch can be tough for a sports fan. But with Sportsnet Now, you can stream 2 games at the same time. Or
so this $10 a month Rogers cable thing?
Have your sports and
let me break something down for you. I had somebody tell me, amongst other things, one of the things they told me, somebody, the way she phrased it was they came in their house and took a $400 TV set for a $30 debt. That's the way they phrased it.
It's time to resume.
You think they're paying the $10 a month for cable? They can't even keep the TV set. What do you think happened to the cable guys?
And right now, it requests your presence. For a limited time, enjoy lease cash savings from $6,000 on 2020 Jaguar F-Pace models. Or take advantage of a 0% financing on all 2020 Jaguar vehicles.
Jaguar.
For details. Offers end September 30th.
That didn't make any sound.
Traffic weather together, Craig here. This sports brought by Queen Smith MBA in Toronto. So the eastbound 401, no access from Trafalgar, from Mississauga Road, from Mavis. Southbound Meadowvale ramp actually is closed. Southbound Port Union ramp as well. And the northbound Kingston Road ramps. All these access points to the eastbound 401. No access onto the highway right now. The ramps are closed. East 401 ramp to the west 407 is closed. And also the ramp to Brock Street, that's been shut down. We have a couple of delay spots on the eastbound 401, so east of the 400 to approaching Yonge, the express lanes are closed, so it's busy getting into the collectors. So as you approach the 400 in the express, it's a slow one, so if you want to avoid it, just make sure to check yourself into the collector lanes at the split east of Kipling once you get the option, and then you can avoid it.
Just for the record, I think glass is the worst thing to keep weeding.
It's a single left lane that's open, and it's slow. It's slow west of Avenue Road through to the Allen as well. In the express, 2 left lanes have been blocked off. North 404 at Steeles, heads up. 3 right lanes are closed. It's a lot of lanes, but there's still enough room to maneuver. We do have some delays, though, as you make your way northbound through there. Just some minor delays on the northbound 404 as you go through the Steeles construction. The Steeles.
That's the heater with no fucking thermostat. Well, I don't know what else to do. I'm going to start putting them in there.
Some delays. We do have some construction at
in theory, it should float if it falls off a boat.
Lanes, but that's not where I'm seeing it delayed.
I got little things, but don't take halfway or 2 to 1 or whatever. We might talk about the 5-gallon buckets.
Give that a look
for
and
a bucket
see what's
brigade.
going on there.
If you're filling the buckets for a bucket brigade, unless Buddy says fill them up all the way, I'm carrying 2 plus 1 on my head. Unless he says that, fill them halfway. You move it faster. Little kids, old people can move them. And as they rock side to side, they won't spill. Halfway. If I fill this halfway, it'll float. It'll dry out stuff, even with the lid on it. The guys that dry out their weed in glass, I don't know why they do that. They have to burp them every so often. Because the pressure builds up. I'm not sure.
We head into tomorrow, 20 degrees, mostly sunny, a brisk wind.
Water vapor, potentially ethylene or something. I don't know.
25 for Wednesday, feeling like 30 with a mix of sun and cloud. And we do have evening rain showers possible as well. But also for Thursday, sun and cloud and a high of 18 degrees, partly sunny for Friday, and 14. Tonight's overnight low, 6 degrees.
Downtown Toronto,
I give you a random dry one and wet one.
12 degrees at Pearson right now.
A random wet one and dry one.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Angus Glen Golf Club. Patio season is back at Angus Glen, and they've got a patio you've got to see to believe. Outside the city, next to the Silo Grill, and space for social distancing. Visit AngusGlen.com.
Could Rexdale be dealing with a serial killer? Toronto police say they're considering that chilling possibility after 2 men died under similar circumstances over the past week. And a new study out of Sick Kids says it is not possible to physically distance in classrooms of more than 15 children. The details on those stories and more coming up at the top of the hour. 680.
And this is why in Congo, 6 months ago, they said 1 meter, 1 meter. Easy to remember, too. 1 meter. Take 1 step back. It's easy. The little kids, 2, 3, 4 steps. 1 adult, you see this grown man here, approximately 2 meters tall, 1.5 meters tall, 1.75, let's say.
That's why we carry top
When
national
he takes 1 step, that's about a meter.
Consultants are factory trained to help shortlist your choice. They'll work with
That's
you.
why in school they taught us about that we had a meter stick, not a yardstick. And they told us it's almost the same.
Appliance Canada for your home.
Oh, and every book, every math kid I had, everything like that, slightly different, but always had different equations. I had one that furlongs and everything else.
This is 680 News.
Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet says he and his entire caucus are now in self-isolation after a member of his staff tested positive for the coronavirus and was exposed to all 31 MPs in the party. Blanchet says they are all working online and everyone is self-isolating to ensure that they don't develop symptoms.
Have you heard about direct lending? It's more flexible than bank lending without
What?
the
On my
bank.
finger,
With
great.
tougher regulations after the financial crisis, traditional banks have cut back on lending to homeowners. With a home equity
Notice
loan
I always
from
do certain things with one hand, always do
you
certain
can
things with the other
use.
hand.
It's a simple phone call away.
Well,
Whether it's home
my handedness, my
college tuition, or
dominance
you just
one
want to
side
pay
of dominance
down
ain't gonna change anytime soon. I had somebody try to convince me by my dad, like, this is one of the people I used to live with and I didn't want to live with, but I could someone seriously tried to convince me one day I would be like short and fat. I'm like, you're retarded. Oh, your metabolism could change. You know it doesn't. Your body, your body morphism doesn't change. There's only the one person in recorded history that lived both as a midget and a giant. He was a midget for a while, and then he grew. Oh yeah, I'm not trying to sing Guinness Book. I don't know if that's actually true. I just know what I read when I was a kid in the Guinness Book.
Reopening schools, paid for by the government of Ontario.
Now the business report with Richard Southern. Good evening. Some more changes in the troubled world of brick and mortar Canadian retail. NEC Mountain Equipment.
Oh, because they don't have a website. You're right. That's brick and mortar. That's not web. You fucking idiot. Brick and mortar. They have no fixed locations that they own, from what I can tell. Everything's rented.
49 years as a cooperative. Sometimes.
Yeah, we just read that about a month ago because we were trying to buy stuff from them, and once again.
I'll talk about this. Oracle today beating out Microsoft to buy the U.S. operations of TikTok.
The camera will see these little wrinkles. You can see the lines between the two seats.
National security issues in the States with this popular video app. This is not going to be a straight-up deal, though, more of a partnership. Anthony Accoli with TD.
Not a straight-up deal, more of a partnership. Isn't that a deal, you fucking idiot? In fact, it's the definition of co-signing. I love it. It's morons. The first time that word got used in hip-hop, the guy was talking about co-signing with the record company, that he would pay the guy's money for the recording studio if his record didn't sell. That's co-signing, you fucking idiots. I'll co-sign his bars, I'll co-sign his bars. What's that mean? Oh, you would agree to pay his... Did you pay your cable bill, bro? You don't use your real name on the air, so that kind of makes me think you got some credit problems.
Closing out 327 points. To 27,000.
Hey, this crackhead's out here, so I'll pay you this tomorrow, that tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And they're falling for it. They owe like 6 different people money. They got Helen somehow. Now, Helen sells food, like coffee and donuts and sandwiches and stuff. She has a heart. She'll give you a chance.
360 Canadian dollar 75.84 cents US.
This person, I can't blame the crackhead for asking, because what does everybody want to hear? Oh, borrow money. Yeah, like white people. You'll pay interest on my book. Why are you doing book money on something you're trying to keep off the books? I mean, not understand this. Oh, go look in the files. He had debt rec. He had debt lists. What's a debt list? Did you have the books showing where the interest payments were calculated? No. No? Really? Oh, because my books are $3 million times 500. Yeah, it's
I didn't want to do it. Helping John himself.
$100 million, $15. There's 100 million street kids out there. Call them all $15 again. How did that add up that way? No. 1.5 billion.
Downtown Toronto, a clear sky and 12 degrees. 680 News is CFTR Toronto. It's 11 o'clock.
Wow, I pissed you off, eh? No, it's the alarm. It's the alarm. This time it's the alarm.
Good evening. This is Monday, September 14th. Here's what's making news right now.
Well, the police say it's too early to say if 2 homicides that took place a few kilometers apart in North Etobicoke are connected.
A few is 3. Ask any white person, they'll tell you. A couple is 2, a few is 3.
It's not fog or cloud cover. That haze you see is smoke from the wildfires ravaging the
We don't see it in Toronto, you fucking retard. The earth curves. Yeah, it's got to go over, it's got to come this way, first of all. Oh, you'll see it because it's in Vancouver. It's only 4,000 kilometers away. You fucking idiot.
The Stars and Golden Knights are heading to overtime in Game 5.
Oh, when BC's fires are burning and the wind's coming this way? Yeah, we smell it.
Walmart looking to
The
get in
wind
on
is going
drone
that way. It
delivery.
has been for about a
Louis
week and a half.
Vuitton
I don't know
serving
why.
some pricey PPE and a good Monday
All
on
the
the
Indians
market.
going, yeah, it usually goes this way. It usually goes east, from west to east. Right now it's going from east to west. Hurricanes make that happen.
The traffic center, Craig here.
This report brought to you by Toronto Pearson Airport on the eastbound 401. Delays because of the express lane closures east of the 400 to approaching Yonge.
I love how they're all slightly different shades and
approaching the
stuff.
400.
I know you people hate that. You want your food to be one consistent color. You know why? Because when you were watching Sesame Street and they drew it with animation, old school animation with crayons, they used one.
Stretch here on the eastbound
Purple.
401. At Broad Street in Whitby, the right lane's blocked. Everything's moving well. Just watch out that
you can't see the
Broad
different
Street's
shades.
closed.
Where's the
It's
one
the
with
westbound 401 through Broad Street in Whitby, where only the left lane is open, and we are slow through here. West of Kennedy and the Collectors, 2 right lanes are blocked off. It's a
got
small
more
vehicle.
reddish to it.
Not a lot of room to
This is
get
a blue.
by anyhow. Because of the lane
dry
restrictions
ones.
and whatnot. So 2 right lanes are blocked off. It's a tight fit. We've got a tow on scene trying to get
So
it cleared away.
the little dried out ones
as
sort
well.
of take up some
West
airspace in here and help them help these other ones dry out too. But I don't. It's not really a huge issue for me right now.
So that's heavy as well. In the Collectors from the Allen and westbound through to Ben Keel, 2 left lanes are closed, but the Collectors is moving nicely. Delays on the west
If it ain't just
west
that
of Guelph
6
line
by
where we have
4x4, 6 by 6, whatever post.
Great shape.
About a foot long that I found, and I knew there'd be a use for it. I just sold it for $5.
Close to the North 404 ranch to the 407.
No, the guy asked me if I still had it. I'm like, yeah, you know. He's like, yeah, I'll give you money for it. I was like, buddy, you have it.
No delays. It's moving nicely.
But when I handed it to him, he's like, can you put it in a bag? Here, I get you a bag. I'm like, buddy, don't worry about the bag. Put it in a home hardware bag.
Learn more at TorontoPearson.com/.
There, it's all proper and plastic.
11:11 with the forecast. Here's
That was the lyric of the
For
song.
tonight,
Like
mainly
3
clear
videos
in the
ago.
GTA down to 6 degrees, but the further north you go, there's the potential for some frost and temperatures right near the freezing mark for areas like Barrie and Gravenhurst this evening. So it will be a cold start to your Tuesday, and we head up to 20 degrees tomorrow.
So yeah, the
Mostly
reputation of
sunny
Pelham
conditions.
Park,
Some of
and
that
it's
smoke,
not
though,
totally
will
undeserved.
kind of
There's a
dim the
bunch of
sky in
young
the
thug
afternoon.
niggas doing
Temps
hustle on the
overnight
street.
low, 6
Gangsta
degrees.
hustlers.
And right now in downtown
Bloods.
Toronto,
So
we have
otherwise
a
it'd be
clear sky,
gangsta.
and it's
I like
12 degrees. We have similar conditions at Pearson Airport, just 10 right now. Feeling like
Gangsta.
7 with the
But
wind
the
chill.
blood,
680
whatever.
news time,
That's the
11:03.
reputation. It's not undeserved. You walk through there, there's flowers and shit. Small flowers.
It's too early to say.
There's all them niggas got moms and aunties and shit. And that was 30 years ago.
Discovery of a man's body under a bridge 5 kilometers away a few days before.
31 years ago, that kid came up here. He was 16 from LA. 1989 from LA. He was 16. Oh, we're not legit, eh?
Says both the victims were stabbed. Both were
That's
the
as
same
legit as it
ethnicity,
gets.
and both were
He
killed
started
in
his own
close
blood set.
proximity to
What's
each
he
other.
supposed to do? Oh, he didn't call up his own boys. It's like being in the army and then being cut off from your command or whatever. You keep going. I don't know what to do. Oh, how the fuck do you end up here, bro?
Was working as a volunteer caretaker for the IMO Mosque. That's in the Rexdale and Kipling area. He died after being stabbed outside the front door Saturday night. Rampreet Singh was discovered.
Oh, I ain't saying much about, oh, I hope this happens. Why? Because I'm not trying to rile up the race wars.
Last Monday. I'm from Martino.
Which I think this is,
It's happening almost 4,000 kilometers
could easily
away from the
be
US
turned
West
into.
Coast.
It's not
Wildfires have now
already.
moved into the GTA. Here's 680's Michelle Mackey.
Have you noticed that haze in the sky or the bright red sunset? 680 meteorologist Carl Lamb says it's all thanks to wildfire smoke.
That indeed is the smoke from the wildfires out west in California and Oregon.
Lamb says the smoke is filtered into the province with upper-level winds and will be more widespread across the GTA Tuesday.
County 51, but it might be off by, I also might be off by one in either direction.
Advisories in place at this
Like
time.
49 or
It's a
50, I
very
know that's
different
not.
story
Well,
in Portland,
50
Seattle,
plus or
and
minus
San
1,
Francisco,
so.
ranked in the top 10
No,
cities
for
with the worst air quality in the
experiment's
world.
sake.
The top
That's,
spot, Vancouver, thanks to those same wildfires burning stateside. I'm Michelle Mackey.
680 News Time, 11:05.
680 News. Back to school during COVID-19.
A new study from the Sick Kids Hospital finds that if there are more than 15 students in a classroom, it is not possible to maintain a 2-meter distance.
Because all classrooms are fungible and exactly the same.
Of all ages and 50
15 teachers from both public and independent schools. At the start of the day, there were crowding concerns at entry points, even with reduced student
Supposed to, at
numbers.
the end of the
During
day, Reggie's at the
kids
end of
were
the day.
unsure
I know
of
my
what to do with
beard
their
is all
masks
fucked
at
up.
recess, and
I didn't
often
sleep
kept
on
them
this side. I
around
slept on
their
this side. I know
wrists.
the dude in
After-school
Nyneteen
parents wanted
books.
to check in with
It's
teachers,
50
which
here.
made it tough for teachers to
It's
maintain a
25
distance while
here.
facilitating a conversation with
Yeah,
parents
it's 50
and
here.
supervising
I'm not sure
other
what angle
kids.
to hold it at.
Some students in Ontario may have had a tough time getting to class earlier today. School bus
25 here.
cancellations continue across the province due to the concerns over
I'd say it's real
COVID-19, and
close.
680's Amelia
The
Shea
wet
says
ones
an
might be
existing
slightly
bus driver
larger. It's
shortage
real
has
close.
been made even worse
2 to
by
1.
this pandemic.
Some bus drivers say they feel ill-equipped coming back to work and fear packed buses.
I don't blame them because they're all old people.
The training has not really been there and been adequate.
You guys take
In
everything
many
for granted. You take the bus
locations, there's a real
drivers for granted. You
disconnect,
take
and
everything for
people are
granted.
trying to figure things out on the fly. Sanitization of buses.
It's
has
not a
been
fucking word. It's sanitizing.
The president of Uniform 4260, which represents a small portion of school bus drivers in Ontario, says her members, along with many of the 18,000 school bus drivers across the province who aren't unionized, want to see less students on buses. East of the GTA, over 220 school buses were
Listener line. To comment on 680 News or on a story and are comfortable having your comments used on air, please press 1. To leave a comment for the news director that you don't want to be used on air, please press 2. Thank you for listening to 680 News. Please leave your comment that may be used on air now.
Precautious is not a word. Saying line 1, line 2, and Young University Blue or whatever doesn't save time. And it's not sanitization. It's sanitation. If you sanitize it, it's 99.9% microbe free. If you sterilize it, it's 100%. It's not sanitization. It's sanitation. By the way, could you do me a favor and check out the grocery stores? I'll just say Freshco for one, are selling hand sanitizer in drinking water bottles. Can you look into that, please? Please. Have a good day, cocksuckers.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, if I'm totally nice to them, they're not going to think it's the same guy, is it?
Qualify as the arrival of the second wave.
I thought of that last part at the last second.
But
Who can I tell?
It's not going to be the whole of Ontario that pays the price. Only
I
Toronto,
thought of that at the
Bill
last
mentioned,
second.
and
I swear.
Ottawa.
We have to look at it in regions. You know, we were up north. They didn't have any cases up there. And
Oh,
we have 3
what's that?
hotspots.
Premier Doug Ford says
We
he's
were up
already
north,
spoken with
capital
medical
U,
officers
capital
to help
N.
for those
We went
hotspots.
250
So,
kilometers
folks,
east. It
I'm
was
begging
still
you, please,
up
just
north,
cut out
capital
social
U,
gatherings.
capital
It's just
N.
not worth it.
So what will the Ford government's
I just saw
response
that. What
be
was
to
that?
that
Is
second
that just on
wave?
the...
The Premier says it would
I
affect
don't wanna
every
know.
aspect of the economies and schools in those hotspots. Minister of Health, Christine Elliott.
Well, we don't want to have to move things back a stage, back into stage
Yes,
2.
we do,
Queen's Park.
stupid.
I'm Mark
You're the only one that doesn't. Why? Because you're paid by the city that collects taxes. We know, you fucking moron.
During and after.
You're supposed...
680 News.
that some jobs are completely separate from the political party in power.
20 years.
Public health, one of them. If you're leaning to one party or the other, if you're putting, oh, none of us wants it. Yes, we do. We want it shut down. This is Canada. We're already richer than anybody on the planet. Yes, we are. Second largest land mass on the planet. And the lowest population. Russia has way more people than Canada does.
Now the 680 News gas
We are
price
the
after
richest
processed
people on the
price of
planet.
gas will not change at midnight, falling at 99.
Oh, the Saudis, isn't it? Gold is worthless to people that have trees and oil and diamonds. Diamonds and gold? We never even looked for diamonds and gold till recently.
On the Young University line.
And we found it. You morons been chopping down trees, killing Indians to fucking... Wonder why the Indians are fighting battle. Oh, well, we have to do this to get the money. The money's underneath where your houses are, stupid.
In time for the morning rush.
Yeah, the gold mine is in Nova Scotia.
680 News Time 11.
You're trying to kill the wetsuite. The gold mine's in Nova Scotia, stupid. Let's follow them. They're going to kill out the wetsuite so they can run the pipeline to the facility that's not built yet. And also with nothing to connect it to. There's no magical extra supply of natural gas for Canada. They're going to sell natural gas on ships that don't exist yet. To be and I know they don't exist because these facilities don't exist. So China might buy it, but they might not. If they build the import facility, which they said no, we're not going to, for a dozen reasons, including COVID-19. And Gazprom ran a pipeline into mainland China 2 fucking years ago. So what are you killing off the West Sweden for? The gold. So this was all to get, I don't know, renminbi to switch back to US dollars to buy Canadian oil and sell it again. And I don't know why you're buying Arabian oil with US dollars and then selling Canadian oil for 2/3 the price, like 1/3 less. Claiming if you do it more often, you'll make more money. To build up gold in your bank account. The gold mine is in Nova Scotia.
Ramps to the eastbound 401 are also blocked off. Mavis ramps as well to the highway.
These idiot flock aheads. Blah, 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 me all day. That's fine.
Here in the express approaching the 400.
Everything I need right here, man.
Turn to get into the collectors. If you want to avoid that, you can get ahead of the game and transfer into the collectors when you get the option.
Hey, he's got the same fucking thing to tell you every 10 minutes. He's got to throw someone there in his mind.
To the east 401 are closed now. The ramp to Kingston Road's been blocked as well.
He's also the bread and butter of the radio station.
Both directions.
Everything else cut out. The weather report, you really only need once a day. It doesn't matter if you update it. You can run the repeat recording all day. The traffic you need every time. You run that every 10 minutes. A new live traffic, 60 seconds every 10 minutes. It's somewhere between 1 and 3 minutes.
Through here and down to
for the weather and the traffic.
We have a minor delay now approaching the alley in the express where your construction is.
People will still tune in. 8 minutes of silence. They will still leave it tuned in for the traffic report. They sit on hold for 2 fucking hours. So please go to our website. Every 2 minutes it says that, right? They sit there for 45 minutes, an hour and a half. But you're going to tell me how radio works. Because you've been doing it since 15 years after I started. Oh, but you didn't do web and paper print. And yes, we did. Mixtapes and every other goddamn thing. Fashion, yeah, we sold clothes too. That Jack Flash store that went out of business selling $200 t-shirts. Every time they sold one $200 t-shirt, we sold probably $55 t-shirts. I don't know what came out ahead, but we were doing that in the 80s. We were doing that in the 2000s.
And then Wednesday,
I think our $20 is worth your $200.
Quite breezy as well, and the chance for some evening rain showers. Tonight's overnight low, 6 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, a clear sky, and it's 12 degrees. Similar conditions at Pearson, just 10 degrees.
A rapidly intensifying Hurricane Sally closing in on the Gulf Coast
photography
of the
and videography. Oh, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a live streamer and all this shit.
Is expected to bring videography. Torrential rains in the coming days.
No, I stopped there. I'm not a DJ. Videography. A little bit of what you might call DJ and what DJ in the element of hip hop is that you cut it. I'm not presenting myself as a DJ. Although I have produced technically like 5 tracks.
Is a bit rusty. You want a
loan? Are they professional grade anything? No, I just like it.
Loan. Okay. Do you own your home? Y-E-K. I'm gonna assume you said yes and not yek. Okay, approved.
They threw that in there as a little shout out to us.
We're the ones that communicate through Morse code, which we could never understand. Get approved. Alpine Press.
That's for the enemies. Which we could never understand. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. No steps and shit.
All energy saver appliances are
full clips, protect grips. Oh. The reason that it's full for so long is I don't waste shit. Just remember the types of ammunition we're using. The cases are stamped 1980, 81, 84. Oh yeah, and it's still good. Oh yeah, it comes in sealed tins where you gotta use a key to waterproof and all that. Exposed to water, you'll know from looking at the seals and stuff.
Clear sky and 12 degrees in downtown Toronto. Good evening. I'm Scott Burnett.
And these are incredibly
with the top
small.
stories this hour.
Arizona police aren't ruling out a possible connection between two grisly murders in Rexdale that happened.
They didn't
just
murder
days
grizzlies,
apart.
they
One
murdered
man was stabbed
humans.
outside of a mosque. The other in which a man was stabbed to death asleep under a bridge.
That's
in
not
West
a real thing to
Maybe
be sensitive about.
4,000
Just
kilometers
plain.
away, but smoke from wildfires burning on the U.S. West Coast making its way to here to southern Ontario. It caused some hazy conditions, a pretty interesting sunset, and keeping us cooler than expected here in the GTA.
Whoa.
And happening right now, there's no
What's he talking
service
about?
on line 1, the Young
From
University
here,
line, from
the fucking thing jumped up, and I grabbed it, clamped down. It was pushing.
Tomorrow, Thursday, and Wednesday, and Thursday.
I don't know how much that video actually cut.
11:15. Now 680 Sports brought to you by Northwood Mortgage and from Sportsnet 590. Fan Josh Goldberg.
For the first time in 20 years, the Dallas Stars are off to the Stanley Cup final.
49 seconds left in the power play. Gurianov takes it in. Perry in back of the goal. To the outside now.
Fucking hell.
Round out by hits for Klingberg. One-timer. Oh, Dennis
The little cocksucker, pinhead size, bit me. I got somebody else's blood on my fucking finger.
That's Kiviranta's second goal of the game and caps a 3-goal comeback as Dallas eliminates Vegas in Game 5 of the conference final and will await the winner of Tampa and New York in the Stanley Cup final. To the NFL, where there's a doubleheader on tap to close out Week 1, and the early game saw the Pittsburgh Steelers take down the New York Giants 26-16 thanks to 3 touchdown passes from Ben Roethlisberger, while the Tennessee Titans and Denver Broncos are underway in the first half in Denver. The Blue Jays, meantime, are off today before opening a huge 3-game series in New York tomorrow against the Yankees. We got some Blue Jays news as Milwaukee Brewers claimed outfielder Billy McKinney off of waivers. McKinney appeared in 2 games this season and finishes his Blue Jays career with 18 homers and 41 RBI in 122 games. And after reaching the final of the Istanbul Open, Eugenie Bouchard was granted a wildcard spot for the upcoming French Open, which gets going in Paris next week. Sports at 15 and 45 pass every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
For more than a quarter century, Northwood Mortgage has been supporting Canadians through the good times and bad. We know it's a struggle for everyone right now, so let's think about your cash flow. Now's the time to consider refinancing your home with a no-payment mortgage. Northwood Mortgage is working harder to get you the funds you need. We're here for you, and we're more flexible than the banks. Apply online at northwoodmortgage.com.
We're working harder for you.
License 10349. What's for dinner?
Good Foods beef barbacoa with Baja vinaigrette.
What about soccer night dinner?
Oh, you mean Good Foods creamy tortellini with sauteed mushrooms.
The I had to work late dinner?
The easy to prep teriyaki salmon balls over sushi rice.
But what if there's traffic?
Good food.
But what if you want bang for your buck?
Good food, good food, good food.
Turn weeknight dinners into crazy delicious weeknight dinners with Good Foods No Stress Meal Kits. Turn up the kitchen with meal kits from makegoodfood.ca.
680 News Time, 11:19. An Ontario Superior Court judge has dismissed a rare motion to have the court toss its own findings in the case of off-duty Toronto police officer Michael Theriault, who was convicted in June of assaulting a Whitby man, DeFontaine Miller. The Toronto Star reporting in Oshawa court heard brief arguments today.
Wasn't he 17 when that happened?
Argued that the guilty verdict of the lesser count of assault wasn't an option for the judge at the trial. The count continued that it had not been explicitly.
See, they just make sure that they answer, oh, we'll just put this charge. You're not allowed to.
The motion was dismissed, and reasons from the decision will be released at a later date.
So yeah, see how that goes? The thing pushed its way out of my hand at the same instance. Second later, I get bit by a bug that's too fucking small to survive on its own and get this far into my house. How is it full of blood? By the way, yeah, it's on the white sock. The clear bug full of red is on the white sock.
As Sally moves inland Wednesday,
I don't get it.
Brings 6 to 12 inches of rain in Alabama and
I
central
got a black one and a white one. I switch them, and they always.
ABC News Miami.
They always go again.
Coming up in 60 seconds.
Sorry, I don't know what the black one's going the white sock, the white one's going the black sock. I don't understand. It bit me, and it went like this, started running in weird zigzags all over my fucking sock. That's why I found it so hard to grab it. I was trying to use spit, and I grabbed it like that, it exploded.
Repairs and replacements come with a lifetime warranty.
So it's time to smoke a joint. Why? Because I was terrified this was a cut in my finger. HIV cannot penetrate a cell that is inundated with, I don't know where I put all this stuff. I will never throw the word back and go do it a second time. That was the whole purpose. You did what you did. Yeah, and then you can do it second, third, fourth. No, we're going to get one step ahead every time.
And a $300 welcome bonus. So look forward to what comes next with the Scotiabank Ultimate Package. Conditions apply.
Small some of these,
Scotiabank.com/ultimate.
Some of these I don't know what I'm going to do.
News time, 11:21.
No, it's the National Institute of Health, NIMH, or whatever.
The right lane is
Medical Health,
NIMH. To the east 401 are also closed.
I always remember the rats and nibs.
To the eastbound 401 also shut down. You have two right lanes.
The U.S. government did the study. Yeah, again, the U.S. government proves cannabis is medicine. They proved in the 70s marijuana prevents lung cancer. You start talking about how you smoke so much you might get cancer. There's a song from the 90s. There's a song from last year. You're a dumb nigga pretending you are with it.
Causing delays now from about east of the 412. Approaching Brock Street.
Oh, well, it's still not good for you because it's smoke.
Through here. West 401 approaching Brock Street, only a single lane is open again, but it's
particulate matter in my lungs makes mucus come off. That's a good thing. It helps get the blood chunks out of my lungs.
Everything all and well again, west of Kennedy in the collector's vehicle.
So they finally, while we were in between videos here,
at Avenue and the Express through to the Allen, two left lanes are blocked off, but again, everything's back up to speed. That's great news.
You say, oh, the smoke's not harming you out. The smoke can't harm you out. Smoke can't harm you out. Mine is, oh, there's not enough of it to harm you out. Yes, there is. It just means you'll get less harm. Yeah, if you dilute it enough, it doesn't mean it doesn't count. When they used to throw the garbage in the ocean, they said the ocean was bottomless. That's the logic there. It wasn't because, oh, it's being diluted.
Download 407 ATR's new mobile app and set your usual
route. You diluted enough, then it's gone. You know why they're saying that? Homeopathy. Oh, the weaker the medicine is, the stronger it is. No, use the smallest dose that works. That's what homeopathy is. It's nothing to do with dilute anything. Oh, water has memory. It's not a part of homeopathy. It's not a part of spirituality. It's not a part of worshiping water. It's not a part of anything.
Across the region that will dim the sky a little bit. The southwest wind between 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. 25 for Wednesday, humidex of 30, sun and cloud quite breezy, and we do have some evening rain showers rolling through. And then Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 18 degrees. Tonight's overnight low, 6 degrees. Right now, at Pearson Airport, we have a clear sky. It's just 10 degrees. It feels like 7. And in downtown Toronto, similar conditions, currently 12 degrees.
Coming up at 11:30, Toronto police not ruling out a possible connection between two grisly murders in Rexdale. Smoke from the West Coast wildfire.
I forgot to get some cigarettes before our weather. I forget why. I was trying not to be heat spots. I thought it was in the back of smoke. Whoever the fuck's going to say, oh, look what he's doing. There's a big bag with a few cigarettes in it. I'm a big time narco trafficker there. No, but she remembered. And then when she said, plus, I told her I'd figure out what it cost me and try to give you guys the best deal. If somebody else is giving you a better deal, so be it. We're not doing this, oh, get the maximum we can get. I didn't even use the words market price or anything else. And I said, I mentioned somehow I sell cigarettes too, and that's how we work it out a bit. But she said, yeah, plus you gave me a half bag of cigarettes too. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. I did that. Like, I wasn't thinking about it. And, what do you do? You see somebody go, oh, that's the guy I did this for. But you never think, you never think that's what this person did for me, right? But it wasn't a half bag. That'd be 100 cigarettes. I gave her like, I'm going to say between 10 and 30. I think it was between 10 and 20.
Astronomers have found a potential
Yeah,
sign
that's
of
not
life
bad.
high in the atmosphere
About
of
$2.
neighboring Venus.
For years, people have been looking toward Mars and other spots where extraterrestrial life could be hiding.
That I pay about
But
50
long
cents
written
for.
off is Venus. The
Where you at, Agent 00, stupid?
Dense atmosphere and hostile surface.
Yeah, they haven't bugged this in
Now,
an
some
hour.
astronomers say they've detected the presence of phosphine gas in the planet's atmosphere,
That's significant,
which could mean there's some form of life that produced it.
but I can't
NASA says it
remember
wasn't
why.
involved in the study and can't comment directly on the findings, but called it intriguing and says it looks forward to discussion about the
That's where the
possibility
word
of life
intriguing
on
fits.
Venus.
I am
Mark
intrigued.
LANDLORD, ABC News.
In just 60 seconds, we'll head over and check out what
Dude.
Richard Southern for us has at the
Two
remote business
king-size
center.
tailor-made
680
tobacco
on
sticks for
1125.
25 Canadian cents.
Many
I
of us are
am
now working where we
intrigued,
live.
brethren.
And when you're home 24/7, you can't avoid the little things like that noisy fridge or the dishwasher that leaves
Mr.
white
2 for
residue
1.
on your glasses. Appliance Canada
Here's the
can
deal.
help. We offer top national brands.
Even the
like
old blind man
Thermador,
could do this.
Oregano,
If he's got
Sub-Zero,
25
Fisher
cents to his
Paykel,
name,
Signature
he could
Kitchen
smoke the
Series,
one
and
cigarette
more.
and the other to his
Our
buddy that
factory
just
trained
gave him a
consultants,
quarter.
competitive
All day
pricing
long,
will
people
make
come
your
say,
choice
hey,
easy.
find me a
Looking for
cigarette, please.
inspiration?
And
Visit our showrooms
and
to
he'll
see
get 2
renovation
every
ideas
time.
come to life. Appliance
I
Canada.
put everybody to
For your
work.
home,
18th
for your
Street,
life.
nigga. Oh, I'm not
basketball,
affiliated.
baseball,
I like
or
your style.
shopping and
You
dance.
roll
When you
everybody
pay
in.
with MasterCard, you
Right,
help
this is
your
a
kid
community, a
chance to
neighborhood.
play.
Even the
Now
blind
raise
man
up
on the
to
corner.
$1
I
million
keep calling him my lookout,
by
eh?
paying with MasterCard online or in store at any Canadian Tire.
You'll notice I ask him if he's okay. If he answers me, then good. And I don't bug him no more and watch what he's doing, whatever. Yeah, because even I'm not trying to know everything the man up to. He's got a significant impairment that everyone else can see plainly. And he can't hide it.
680 News Time 1126.
So there's things I don't need to keep track of.
Here's Richard Southern.
I don't want to accidentally reveal something.
Costs a pretty penny. Louis Vuitton
Somebody
is selling a big
forced their
deal.
way into his house about 3 years ago and took $40,
Yeah,
supposedly.
it has the brown LV logo around the headband, but it is just a piece of
And ever
plastic.
since then,
Although the luxury fashion brand says
the whole
it can be
neighborhood
flipped up
has
and
taken a
used as
vested
visor.
interest.
Louis Vuitton, not the
Paying
only ones
attention.
to try and
Now,
get in
half
on
these
this
people have
space.
come along
Burberry
since then.
recently
New people,
announced it
they're
was coming
junkies
out
and
with a
such,
face mask
but they
that
see how the
sells for
people
just over
before
$100.
are
Balenciaga and
talking to
Dolce
him
and
stuff.
Gabbana
Oh,
sell one
hi,
too,
Kenny's not
as
going to
well,
see
for
you
just
to
over
introduce himself, right?
$100.
Now, you all have a
Retail
Kenny.
news,
Here, his name is
Walmart
Kenny.
is trying to
I don't
get
know
in
his
on
last name. I don't need to.
drones,
Kenny, blind
delivering.
black
This has
man. You know,
been
Kenny,
something a lot of
old
companies have been
blind
talking
black
about
man.
for a while, but we haven't
I
actually
wish he
seen
played
it
an
on any
instrument.
commercial scale. But
I wish I could hear him on
Walmart
the
said today
planet.
is teaming up with a company called Zipline to launch a drone delivery
He
program
smoked
next
weed,
year
you know.
for
I gave him a
health
split
and
one
wellness
time. He wanted to
products.
smoke
The
a split.
company
Just
is
once. He said he used to smoke,
near
what did he say, like
headquarters
an ounce a
in
week or half an
Northwest
ounce?
Arkansas.
Years ago.
Amazon.com recently won
I gave him one of my
regulatory approval
splits.
in the
This week.
states to deliver packages by drone, but Amazon says
It was
it doesn't
good,
know
yeah.
yet
It
when
was
it will
good.
start actually doing
I
this
forget what I
on any
my
large
story.
scale.
Yeah,
And
even the new
UPS
people don't
has also got
necessarily
US
know
regulatory
why
approval
everybody's
to deliver packages
Oh,
via drone.
they hear other people say,
Stocks
hey, Kenny,
flying
okay,
higher
Kenny,
on
you
the
need to
drone
smoke.
today. The
I'm
Dow
good,
was up
whatever.
327
See,
points to
people, even this fucking
27,993.
flock I had will go into the coffee shop and use his bank card to buy his stuff and come out with it. And so far as I know, she's not ripping them off.
Did the trick. Nvidia stock was up 5.8% as it announced plans to buy fellow chipmaker ARM
If
Holdings.
she's not bugging him, she can do whatever she wants. She can victimize all those people out there. Don't touch him, I'll fucking murk you.
It's buying the
She want to talk shit about me. I already told her. You say whatever you want. Words ain't nothing. Dirt bag. That's good. That's a good one. Yeah, I clean up dirt all day. And I remember that Star Trek episode, ugly bags of mostly water. What are we made of? Dirt. We're made of space between cells, space between molecules. You don't understand that one. Oh, they can explain an electron, a proton, and a neutron. One has a positive, negative charge. They stay away from each other. They can't explain what that means. Ask a scientist what gravity is. And they will begin to give you the answer. They will pause for a second. Then they will give you the answer that you probably thought you probably knew.
Schools are reopening
Going
across
back down
Ontario,
in, stupid buddy.
and elementary educators are focused on the safety of every student. Even though the Ford government failed to plan for a safe September, parents and educators are doing everything we can to make school a success for every child, ensuring physical distancing, keeping kids at home when they're sick, and standing up for the health and safety of our students and our communities. Together, we're protecting our students and protecting public education for all. A message from the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario.
You can tell by the way he's running.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got a clear sky at 12
You better not end it up in
degrees,
here,
10
man.
degrees over at Pearson, going down to an overnight low of just 6
Big
degrees.
fat motherfucker.
680 News
Dumb
Time.
enough to take a test bite, and now he's running. Why? Because all that blood in his stomach just went boom.
Here are Scott Burnett
Hey, this is
and
weird.
Asher Roth.
Little Trump there was
Good
weird.
evening. It's Monday, the 14th of September. Here's
The
what's
fence
making news
loud.
right now.
So I hang sort of like a lamppost.
Police say there
Although
are
it might also be like
similarities
that.
between two homicides that took place in North Etobicoke in the last week, but it's too soon to say if they're linked.
The incidents occurred in very close proximity to each other.
Yeah, as I was about to light it, the fucking thing did its test light on the back of my ankle. I looked and couldn't see it. Why? Because it's running down into my shoe. Why is it running into my shoe?
No.
Ontario sees its largest number of new COVID-19 cases in over 3 months. The city's top doctor says reckless behavior is to blame.
That haze blanketing the GTA is smoke.
There's
drifting
no
in from
haze.
Western U.S.
There's
wildfires.
none.
Meteorologists say
The wind is
affect your
going
health,
straight
but it
east,
will affect
west.
our temperatures.
It's a westerly wind.
Stanley Cup final for the first time in 20
The smoke
years.
is traveling
The Pittsburgh
north
Steelers
to
open up
BC.
their season with a win. Sports at
We're as
45.
close to the East Coast as you can get without speaking French.
Popeyes releasing its sandwich.
Yeah, do you understand that? New York is due south.
Fast food chains are all in on these type of eats. It was winner chicken.
There's
dinner
no
lunch,
possibility of there being haze here. None. It's impossible. Because the wind is going that way, and it's also from California going straight north to BC. That's why they can see it in BC.
Loser, wish you had a chicken dinner here.
So what they're saying,
Westbound 401.
oh, it can't affect you because it's not that strong. Because it's not here at all. Oh, it is and it is. It's been blowing around the whole world since it started. Well, 8 years ago. There's always forest fires. There's never a period of time when the forest ain't on fire. What, winter time? Oh, that's right. The cold winter does not put out a fire, nor does the temperature going up 1 degree in 100 years cause a fire. No, it doesn't. You know what fucked up the water in California? Well, the government of California sued companies for hydraulic fracturing and damaging the aquifers. And in that magazine there about Cleveland being all boarded up, it's either in there or another issue, the same one. All the farmers run it straight from, okay, so Colorado, I know, so you got California, Colorado, I know, but north and south, there's aquifers. All the farmers to the north are pumping out as much water as possible.
Go through Brock Street and Whitby down to a single lane. It's a slow drive, and the ramp to Brock Street.
And what that means is there's no water holding up the rocks. Okay, you don't understand. The rocks did not hollow out and then one day water started leaving in. The water has been wearing away the rocks forever. If you take out the water, because every time something pushes that rock against the water pushes against the other rocks. It does. And since it's moving, since it's being essentially pushed down from above, that's how gravity works. That's why the taller the column of water, the more pressure. You fuck off.
Traveling southbound on the 400. The biggest
you ever have cockroaches lick you? That's how I know how fucked up these crackheads are. Their cats will try and lick your lips, but not anymore because these guys are all fucked up. Their cats die with fleas.
6 degrees will be the overnight low. Mainly clear conditions. Frost developing for areas north and
so
northeast
the water
of the city.
is wearing away the rocks. They pumped out so much water there's an airspace. So when something pushes in the rock, it doesn't push this way. It just collapses.
A breezy southwest wind around 20 kilometers.
And now the pipe is small.
Tonight's overnight low, 6 degrees.
That's what's wrong with the water levels in California.
680 news time, 11:33.
The weed dealer, the weed growers have to buy trucks of water to come up. But you won't do that for residents in Oakland. 10 or 15 years ago, they did this big project of fucking changing how the water runoff comes out of fucking Oakland or whatever. Yeah, more efficient now. Where's the water go? The ocean or whatever. Does it refuel the fucking? No.
It's too soon to say if the cases
all that
are linked.
drainage.
They cannot exclude
You
that
put all the
possibility.
money into drainage, knowing they would need it for water supply.
The victims were also of similar ethnicity. 58-year-old
Oh,
Mohammed
thank you.
Aslam
Similar.
Zagisa, who was of Indian Guyanese descent, was working as a
Who's the other one?
volunteer caretaker for the IMO mosque in the Rexdale and Kipling
Who's the other
area.
one?
He died after being stabbed outside the building Saturday. Police say Ranpreet Singh, a man in his late 30s,
he's not-
had been living on the West Humber Trail.
They're not
He
the
was
same at
found
all.
under the Highway 27
In fact,
bridge
once you
near
mix
Humber College
Guyanese
Boulevard last Monday.
Everybody hates the mixers because they're brought in to be one level above the purebreds that are just... You don't have to understand what I'm saying. Hey, why is it called French Guyana, Spanish Guyana, Portuguese Guyana, Dutch Guyana?
From their school simulation study, which
My buddy was
found that
Guyanese.
2-meter physical distancing is not possible with more than 12 to 15 students in a classroom.
12 to 15.
The classrooms used during the simulation resembled a typical public school classroom, which is
so you didn't use a real classroom.
by 24 feet.
They're not 32 by 24
feet. It was not possible to maintain a 2-meter distance between students and accommodate more than 12 to 15 students in the class, even with the desks against all 4 walls. There was also crowding at entry points, even with staggered class starts.
Putting the desks against all 4 walls is not the extreme end of the spectrum. You failed geometry and math. Yes, you did. Which meant you had to fail geography and probably science, because your brain don't work for fuck off. Oh, there's 24 feet between these two. That's, for some reason, I'm 6 inches from the next guy, and I can't figure it out.
It's somewhat inevitable that children are going to get sick this fall. In years past, you may have given them some Tylenol or sent them off to school anyway. But
which is illegal now, take it off the market.
Students will have to stay home.
You're not, whatever they're hinting at.
And 680's Karen Siolan tells us that could really make things chaotic for families.
Anna K. Brown works from home, so if one of her 2 school-age children wakes up with a
they offer me medication all the time as a kid. No, I don't want it. No, I don't want it.
But that's not the case for other families in her neighborhood of Jane and Finch.
Are you pussy
One of Toronto's hardest hit by COVID-19.
Not every family have the luxury of being able to just say, my child is sick today, I can take that time off.
Dr. Anna Banerjee says
it's has, not have. No, it's have nots. Have versus have nots. You don't know our language.
To keep their kids at home.
Now listen to Street Talk.
We're going to have resurgence.
Advocates like Brown say they understand the need to be precautious, but this will leave many families in an impossible situation.
So I don't know who said.
We are going to say if a child has a mild symptom of the flu to keep them home because we're not sure if it's COVID, then at this point it doesn't make sense to open school.
For City News,
but you had to put the expert saying stuff. Her name has to be Brown. Oh, it's better than black. Then your talking head said, "Oh, Brown said blah 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 precautious." So either one of you is an idiot. You're both trying to make it sound like the original woman. You're associating that with her because you finished with her saying it. It doesn't make sense to be open. But she used the word precaution. No, she didn't. Listen to it again. There was 3 or 4 people in that conversation, but you're pretending to quote one person.
As sure as I'm standing here, and I hope to God I'm wrong.
And when the second wave does
you started on I'm wrong.
The response will not be province-wide, but regional, meaning the 3 big COVID hotspots: Toronto, Peel Region, and Ottawa.
We've had the conversation with all 3 chief medical officers.
The Premier says everything would be affected by the province's response in those hotspots, from the economy to schools. Minister of Health Christine Elliott says the call on the second wave and any possible subsequent rollback to stage 2 of opening the economy will be based on multiple factors.
On the number of new cases, the hospitalizations, the number of people on ventilators.
At Queen's Park, I'm Mark Douglas.
Oh, you mean the statistics, like numbers?
Toronto's top doctor is explaining why the case count is going up.
So we know of a big family gathering where there was very little mask wearing.
I don't know what you think you're getting out of this voting. I just watched it jump up and out of the mask track.
Or family.
Oh, I'll piss you off because it's your resources and already had one.
We also know of infection that resulted from a family trip where part of the time was spent with a person confirmed to have COVID-19.
You were retarded.
Dr. Eileen Davila says there were also reports over the weekend of a busy
but you told people if it's less than 15 minutes, it's okay.
And people have to speak loudly to be heard. Davila says it's a prime example of how the virus can spread.
Yeah, you're screaming through them. These people are screaming through the mask.
Smoke from those fires has made its
way into the GTA. Don't pull your mask up. It's like if I scream through this mask so you can hear me, the spit bubble's gonna fly out.
It's not fog.
I'm pointing my
No, that haze in the sky
air stream downwards. It's not possible for it to go back up unless it bounces off the ground.
Western U.S. It's also responsible for those bright red sunsets and sunrises, a phenomenon 680 meteorologist Carl
which we haven't gotten either. Hold up, that was a direct reference to us, eh? That was a direct reference to me, this channel, and anyone that watches it.
Not allowing all of that brilliant sunshine to get through.
and that's going to keep our temperatures a degree or two cooler.
This is how stupid they are. It's red at night, sailor's delight. Red in morning, sailor's warning. You might say shepherd. You might say soldier.
That's an area bigger than the
there hasn't been bright red sunrises in over a month.
I'm Michelle Mackey.
Thinking about senior
But you're
but not sure
Intel guy.
Right now, we understand.
Oh, he did his job. Wait, no, we got our notes.
Recognize the importance of safety and
there has not been a red sunrise in over a month. I've watched it come up every fucking day and the sunset every fucking day for weeks. The sunset just went down. The sun just went down.
We'd love to get to know you and create an experience tailored
so
to
the
your
Earth
unique
is tilted
needs.
and the orbit is an oval and it's off center. But long story short, in the summer the sun sets south of that building, and in the winter it sets north of that building. Okay, it's a straight line for me to see from here. We were online when that happened. Maybe not. Oh, I was standing over there. There's no red in the sunset. Zilch, zero. You know what there is? There's the moisture falling out of the air because winter's coming. You know what I'm talking about? You're not from there.
With $35,000 cash. Buy now at PrincessMargaretLauder.com.
There's been none. That was a direct reference to us. It's also responsible, by the way, I know you're one of the viewers, and I know you think that #1 means you're the only viewer. I've seen videos with 2 or 3 viewers get like hundreds of hits, so don't even kid yourself. I know it's because somebody keeps reporting, oh, he's stealing your work, and they don't own it. They don't own the news. So like Hitler was claiming taxes and shit to the German tax department for his political work, which was illegal, but he said his political work is what allows him to write a book. Without his political activism, he won't be able... Political activism, that's right. Socialism, that's right. Bleeding heart liberal. Oh, let's not go there. So the tax authorities back in the 30s said that's not correct. But tell you what, you're going to pay half tax. Because how do you Germans are very like 1 + 2 = 3. Always 4 times out of 5. Right? Wait, no, at least 4 times out of 5. 60% of the time in the 7th percentile. Yeah, that shit was a direct dig at us. But yeah, I know people report. So that's why current events. You know, if I was charging for access, that could be fucked with. Restricting access to adults only, I don't know. If you were charging a nominal like $1 off your credit card to prove someone's an adult, I don't know. They don't own this. They don't own it. YouTube don't own these videos either. No, you don't. No, you don't. You've made it impossible for me to use the service correctly. So, oh, I know you don't own me the usage, but you don't own the people that make the music on some of these things. They own the 50% of the advertising rights of those portions. Now, the argument could be made that that's what makes people want to watch the whole thing. Okay, fine. All you copyright holders argue with each other. Oh, YouTube's private property. That's right. YouTube's private property. They get to set their rules. They're also American in the U.S. and made by the American military. Yeah, the internet invented by the U.S. Army. Yeah, the internet invented by the U.S. Army. Every time you do that, I'm going to fucking just repeat myself like I always do. Every time you try to make me frustrated, he'll get frustrated and leave. Go do. No, I'll just repeat myself. Because I've been communicating with people to speak 200 different languages my whole life, including the blind, the deaf. I don't talk to stupid people on purpose. People that can't taste or smell, people with one leg, etc., etc., etc. Hey, you see these older people, crippled people and stuff. You see the hookers that are following no proper public health rules whatsoever, mixing with them. Guess what? These people are mixing the whole time anyway. Any port in a storm. You can choose who to support. You can't choose who supports you. Even these hookers are humans. They're all fucked up on drugs and everything. They're humans. They have a heart. Sort of. I'm just looking for where it's going to cut in and out when I touch stuff or do stuff. Yeah, I know you're assuming I'm touching the mouse and moving it and clicking it. I know, because you can't see the screen, you can see this video. We deduced that a while ago because you're retarded and you played all your cards. Oh, you didn't? About 8 fucking hackers ago, 800 hackers ago, played all the cards. Oh, see, now the people you deal with as your handlers are not in charge of nothing. The people really in charge that know where money comes from, know who the fuck I am, and they also know the reality of 4th generation warfare. Now, if I click this, it would do that. Yeah, every time I press certain buttons, do you ever go to press something, press the OK button, which would clear the dialog box, and then it clicks what's underneath as well? It does both. Yeah, it should never happen. Or the box moves the instant you click on it. Android has built into it that no matter what, if you tap on something, whatever was visible when you tapped it is what will be actuated. So when that stops working that way, we know what you're doing. Not worried about it, HIV. I said 20 years ago, I was rather HIV and hepatitis. I said 20 years ago, why? Hepatitis won't kill you, but you know, you die of HIV, you gotta be careful about your immune system, but one day you catch a cold and you don't recover. What kills people with HIV? You use the term pneumonia. Go look that up. That's not a thing. It may or may not be bacterial or viral. It's a cold virus. If it was the flu, they'd call it influenza virus. You're terrified of HIV, but you're think this hepatitis contamination back in the 80s is just a minor thing. You know how many of these assholes got hepatitis? I'm going to tell you something. Fluorine bleach does not kill hepatitis. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. They don't use it to clean surgical implements. They use, it's not instruments, it's implements, just like firemen. The instrument is the thing that measures and tells you, that's the equipment my grandfather worked on. Speedometers for trains, because he's an engineer, but not a locomotive engineer. He engineered components for locomotives. Locomotive engineer. And medical equipment, which does what? Monitors and shows you the statistic. It's not an implement, I got bags and bags of with a good heart that shows them all that first and they turn into like outdoors to throw on dirt. My cousin Mervin and my head must have been y'all. Come on, dog, just me and my girl and a gun. Psilocybin mushrooms grow on wood around here. You don't know nada, ask mom and dad. They ain't got the answers. I can't make a strangers. There was a whole bunch from my doesn't matter where. They didn't come up to see us. I wasn't up there to see them, no. I didn't see them. I think actually they did come up last year and I wasn't up there to see us. Hey, all the kids in this province are told to never touch mushrooms, so it don't matter where they grow. The fact that they're growing so close to the daycare is a good thing. See that kids was a mushrooms, so never touch them. If your mommy and daddy didn't know, you idiots go, they don't look like this. If your mommy and daddy didn't give them to you, don't eat them. The grocery store mushrooms are grown in complete darkness, is why they're white. The exact same looking mushroom, identical. Outdoors, That's growing in direct sunlight. It's white. The white ones would be shit brown if they grew in the sunlight. Just like the shit brown strawberries from Romania. It's impossible to get to market. Really? Give me the seeds, stupid. See how dumb people are? Oh, we can't market it as a product we pick. Then sell the seeds, stupid. When they ripen so quick they turn shit brown. They ripen and they rot in the same day. No, you're going to sell the genetically modified, perfectly straight rose strawberries to go on the table. And you pack them in a pot. It's got the most good. I tried in my old apartment. Got nowhere. But the strawberry fields everywhere. Yeah, we started with this one. It's about natives on the TV here.
Ready gang is over. Guess we in agreement.
Yeah, that's alright.
You got me your mouth, nigga. Sit your little bitch ass down, nigga. Please, this dude can't spell ball without the AR. Vote me for mayor. Take a helicopter.
Oh, you're doing like this. Well, that's wrong. It's the right hand.
The liquor for the shots to make you stagger. For my local brother, cause like he loves my partners. Real bad boy, from baby, y'all box. With this empire, it's not like Roger.
Bus drivers.
Nobody can cross it.
Do it.
Four clips like a bitch's wig stiction. Murder gang sick shit. Got me reading the word.
Then God used to me saluting them and being in the road. That's all I needed. I needed them to know I'm going to be in the road at strange spots. Not so they don't hit me, so that they're not worried about what I'm doing. Oh, I'm going to run up front of the bus and try to hijack it. And, nope, that's not us. Those idiots run around in orange jumpsuits? Probably not. Maybe. Didn't see MP? Probably not. What else can people put on their clothing to identify themselves? Lots of things. You should look it up or ask them. Why don't I put Captain's Bars or whatever the fuck? I don't even know what the fucking insignia are. Well, we were in the army before that, so I'm grandfathered in. Grandfathered, block it. Using around the funny juice.
Nigga try to end me for the money, kind of fireman to put my fucking flame up. Go ahead and try it there. By all means, do you. I'm creeping through the field shop of Zulu. Cruising in the Subaru. Murder gang cruising around and get for bubbles. You lose. Trying what kind of like two shows. Listen to your receipts that I hire shooters to whack. Right now, rapping snapping. Don't even attempt, I won't tap. Really out of half time. Slap the kids so hard to put a wonder call him Matthew. Subliminal. Murder gang squad in the fact I set it up to win a
this man would say he's dead inside. From death goes life.
That judge ain't quiet. By the end of this track, a motherfucker buying it. That bitch holds gauges and a couple 45s in it. Catch a couple cases, but I'll beat him if I'm hiding it. In the L spot, nigga known for the kill shot. Cause I'm the nigga that shot Jack and chill out the hilltop. Lil Red Rider Hood was Rider Hood. The song blew it up now. Shit riding through the hood. And Woody Woodpecker was a fag while Batman got shots and panties over his pants. Spidey was a swinger. Wolverine is a nigga that's obvious, so they ain't gotta mention that splinter. Roll that master shatter with my map, my death roll blast and cheddar. China the cat is better. Yeah, I'm sitting in the vehicle, plotting out
the camera is exactly vertical with the TV screen. And when I tilt the screen, we get a slightly different geometry. Slightly different. Because the arc is there, so the pivot's down there, so there, it's 16-inch, 18-inch pivot radius instead of a quarter-inch. I don't know what I was trying to do. Yeah, I could get a different camera, blah, blah, blah. It's a 1080 fucking camera, 60 hertz. I don't know why YouTube does this thing. I don't know. It's such a oddball size. It's 960 by, I don't know. The only time I've seen that aspect ratio and that resolution was a file I had, I can't get now, of, well, there's several documentary pieces where they're in the media libraries of tertiary learning institutions
realize that we're living out the white man's lies. There's no compromise. Yeah. It's that raw shit.
It's a throwback, yeah. Now when man chop walks, people man chop looks. I swear to God, I should be dead from all the pills I took, but I'll be okay. Raise your hands if you're going insane. If you're feeling so depressed, you wanna blow out your brains, and you've been to darker places, you won't try to explain, but still you try to keep it moving, then we're probably the same. We used to get high like trucks on lift kits. Then I woke up and I said, fuck this shit. I made a promise to myself, man, rip shit. Slide through your verse like a Tokyo drift kit. From being at the doctors on pills like please help me, to being on the hospital floor like please kill me. And I ain't scared of dying except there's nothing to inherit. And I owe lots of people money and still my parents.
They had a whole extra classroom for us to take us up to.
Cause I got Nyneteen instead of screaming out my lyrics. And I'm new to this new game where kids out talk shit. That's why I'm writing rhymes that even they can't fuck with. Let me do a show. Let me catch somebody.
I don't know why it's not in the map book. I don't know if it changed the school name or changed it back. I don't know if it's still the same name. They had the same damn basketball hoops with no nets from when I was a kid. Two facing each other, yeah, proper course. I don't know how to turn it. And I'm looking at these hills and things, the landscaping. When I was a kid, oh, this is this huge stairway, this huge hill in my memory. Baseball diamond done.
Dangerous like Bangkok. All these little rappers coming fresh out the sandbox. Life a little crazy for me now that I'm bankrupt. But this got a danger breaking out of his handcuffs. Chain felt pain like acid raindrops. Chain pop pills, they'll make it rain rock. Quit now, I'm back conquering like gangbusters.
They moved today, whatever, there's a daycare in the school now.
Chop walks, people man chop brooks. I swear to God, I should be dead from all the pills I took, but I'll be okay.
We took down the incinerator stuff. Now I'm narrowing it down quite a bit. I know. Blue and gold, incinerator stack, Ron Road. The first three public school team I have no connection to. It's just the Panthers. First Panthers. I don't even know what sport that is, to be honest.
What I'm doing to a rival. Thought I was a shooter, but I'm doing sitting idle. I was super stupid, now recouping loot is vital. And I'm just trying to break a couple super idols. They call me Mr. Suicidal. Ruthless for a writer, rapping with the human spider. I'm the silver surfer, so I'm a night out. Definite direction, so I'm right out. Keep the shades down and the doors locked. Fort Knox, keep the floor locked.
Here's the smallest dose of
trying to keep the secret while I'm seeking out the door. Cause people might be sleeping, but I'm freaking out for more drugs. Hey, yo, I'm set on repeat, rocking undefeated.
Your money's worth out of that voodoo.
White freedom and a white beater, but I know
I missed the ashtray somehow. It's stuck to my finger. Magically, when I let go, it went out like that, stuck to my finger. And then it fell off. The thing's almost out of it. It landed on plastic. Didn't even land on the floor. If it did land on the floor, it landed on concrete. But then your money's worth out that voodoo. I survived 3 house fires. You saw me inhaling out this and it went out, huh? I survived 3 house fires. Anybody survived 1 house fire and is a cigarette smoker? You don't ever see them do anything to cause fire. Oh, that's like that. Whatever the fucking East Russian said don't mean shit to me. You need to clean this up or I won't come back here. I didn't ask you in here in the first place, stupid. Jesus, because some people are so cocky. He literally thought he was white enough. By the way, bro, you're Asian. I know you were Caucasoid and Occidental, but where you were born is in Asia. You're on the other side of the tectonic plates. Because he's white. So they convinced him to the point where, oh, your presence is such a blessing. Get the fuck out the trap, nigga. Getting money sideways.
they talking, but they never live. I've been gonna put them 7 digits. Came back with a better vision. I ain't never switching. I'ma get this chicken. Crime pays, that's my way. Try to tell them, but they never listen. Fuck the ops, fuck the cops. I'ma make a millions when a Merry Christmas. I've been on it since Dipset. How they wanna get their lips wet. All these bitches used to try to swear me now, flexing on them with this dip.
And even your parents were born, or some of your grandparents, people try to make it like, that's bad. I've heard idiots go, you gotta have as many stamps in your passport as years of your age, your birthdays. Why would I get a passport stamp? It's all my legs. I'm cruising down the highway. People are so fucking retarded. You're so fucking retarded. It is ridiculous. These are African descent and some of them Muslim. We're talking about getting stamps from white people to visit lands. Where your people have been going for thousands of years. Some sort of drug-related thing, don't ask me. It's on this website, but I'm not going to give you the keywords.
I can't sleep, these nightmares are
still burning.
Gotta keep both hands on the wheel.
What do your lighters do when you throw them on the ground? That's good for the world. They don't recover the fuel. They don't recover the flint. They don't recover the flint wheel. They don't recover the steel. They don't recover nothing. There's like 12 pieces of plastic and 8 pieces of metal or something.
Man, I'm down for some shit. When it comes to the grind, I'm a vet. Went to bars, hit snap with a flip. On my shit, I'm a peanut butter. Stripes in the whip.
I know we heard all these today. I'm trying to skip past them. Fucking hell, I swear to God. So there it goes.
They say that money is power. Well, let me give you a weapon. Got so much aim.
Radical Dash, record peace.
We'll be alright. Rockers. I go harder than a little bit. They should have locked me in a psych word. Instead, I'm in the world and shit is awkward. Keep my head up like Tupac by enemies like Malcolm. We dream like Mark.
Oh, you can do the same thing we all can.
You don't make sense. You're an MC without purpose. A circus, your clown. Fuck your ground. I rock crowds. Money
talk. You think that you're nothing because you grew up in the same ghetto your parents grew up in.
All around us. I'm good. Work. It's out of my hands like selling grand. Posted on the block, taking shots, ounce for the city, pound for the country. I'm an OG from the 90s. Been doing this for a minute.
Go to all the ghetto neighborhoods and all the rich white neighborhoods. Tell me which ones have the sewer rates better.
Revolution is a process.
Who's got more garbage? I'm not talking about garbage you can see. Who's got the garbage in places where it will like move it one step along the line, like I'm kicking it from the bushes into the street. It looks like I'm doing like just nothing, right? The street sweeper gonna come through and clean all that up for you. You see me kick the garbage out of the storm drains, and then you see me kick more garbage into the street. It looks backwards, right? Until the street sweeper go by and you go, oh. I just know the street sweeper, the buggy guys go, all day long.
We go harder on the beat.
Work hard, party hard, I live
When I see this been done, I go do the fucking bushes again. Yes. We don't need no books to keep track of hours and shit. Oh, who did this and who did that? Just run wherever it wants to get. Follow the garbage. That's where we were. And I know some of you see me kicking and it keeps blowing out and it might blow back into somebody else's head. I know it's somewhere along the way. It might stay in the gutter long enough for the sweeper to get it. I will not allow children to grow up around me thinking that it's okay to have this garbage everywhere and disease and filth and find out later it's because, oh, white people run the world and we're black. No, fuck you.
Step aside when we make moves. Let's ride, let's break some rules. Take it to another level. I'm feeling good on that Jackson, floating on the moon. I said, going on the moon.
He said, we literally just got the call. And he's looking at me with this, he knows it's a bullshit call. I don't know what the thing is about yet. At the end of it, he says, you can't pry open sewer grates with a stick. Yeah, I know that. Somebody called out to somebody driving through, because I've been at the same spot for an hour trying to clear this drain. At the point I've given up and I'm walking away, somebody has called the cops. And the car just happens to be rolling by, yeah, because their parking lot is around the corner. Yeah, so we're all they're probably doing good. No, we've been selling drugs next to cops forever. And sometimes it's drug cops trying to bust us, and sometimes it's just. Last year in the summertime, I was at Dundas in the field. I was standing there smoking my stuff, whatever. And traffic response and highway, whatever, there's different divisions. Six, anything such. Traffic services for the city Sunday, okay? You shouldn't get double time, so I don't know. The guy just keeps giving me this head. Why? Because I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. And he's got to pull over these drivers or whatever. So the way it works is he signals somehow to someone up the road, and that person pulls him over or whatever. I saw one time at Queen and Broadview. Now, this is not a safe way to do it. They were jumping out with a blanket in front of the cars. It's like the drivers slamming on the brakes. That happens. You can see it's a cop. The drunk guy behind him pulls a quick left, flies up the one-way street with his kids. Sorry, he wasn't going the wrong way. There's something about that spot. I can't remember what you're not supposed to make the turn. So there's something about that spot. Did they pull over that guy later? No. Oh, but you got the SUV, what was it? Too slanty-eyed or something? What was it? They don't do this anymore. They did that exactly once. And I don't mean one car. They do the cars all night long. They never did that again. You can't stop cars by with a blanket in front of them. Like blocking their view, they can't see past the blanket. Okay? Which sounds silly, but if you are driving, if you know how to drive, once something blocks your vision, you will take your foot off the gas, touch the brake, and prepare to slam it. Although you people know, the left foot, partway back and then down. We know because Mercedes did it. If you go partway, when you go to lift, the brakes go all the way down. That was 1997. There are some nice features in Crisis, yes. No, I don't think the Germans are as upset about the damage to the Mercedes reputation after that merger as Americans are about Germans owning Dodge and Jeep and AMC, Plymouth, Chrysler. Every time I think there's always rappers in my time. I'm never explanation, you already know why. My natives, I'm a ride for my motherfucking natives. Like the upper die with my finger on the trigger. I've been riding outside all day with my natives. And I ain't going in unless I fit my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my 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 motherfucking native. Oh, I got to figure out how to store like 1,000 cartons of cigarettes and 100 pounds of weed. Since I found out the guy with 99 pounds did like a year, the guy that did the introduction got 3.5 years, and the other two guys got, I believe it was 16 and 17 years. I'm going to be the guy with 99 pounds, and the rest of y'all can do all that time. I don't know why it works that way.
Welcome to the Alex Salmon Show from stricken Aberdeenshire in Scotland. We return today to the subject which has swept even the COVID crisis off the front pages, the social media, and the television screens over the last few weeks. The killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis has sparked waves of protests across the United States and internationally. From London to Pretoria, from Sydney to Glasgow,
hey, you don't like me,
people have taken to the streets demanding justice and racial equality. Many have held banners with the proclamation that Black Lives Matter, or some have kneeled. Many have stood in silence for 8 minutes 46 seconds. The time George Floyd was struggling to breathe,
Scottish is going to be 8 minutes and 46 seconds, because that's how long
President Trump has come under sustained fire from retired generals for suggesting that regular troops might be deployed in the streets across the United States. The imagery of a president cowering in the White House bunker while peaceful protesters were dispersed with tear gas may not be one which is conducive to his re-election prospects. Today we examine this wave of protest from the human angle. We ask a bereaved mother from Baltimore about the personal pain of the killing of her son at the hands of the police. She took her campaign all the way to the gates of the Obama White House. And then we ask a young woman activist from Chicago what has motivated her to be involved in the demonstration.
Somebody hacked their cell network, so everybody got free cell phone service.
In its historical context, we turn to Medea Benjamin, who gives an assessment of why this time round it might really make a difference.
That's dumb.
First, it is
all you're doing is making it so there's more Wi-Fis,
and your messages,
and they're competing over and over because they're always broadcasting.
In his full special last week on Labour leader Keir Starmer's first report card featuring commentator Steve Richards and Professor Richard Murphy, Ali says Starmer has done brilliantly. Very clear, very concise, very measured. Basically the opposite of Boris Johnson. Everyone can see he has him on toast at PMQs. Sheila says, I think Keir Starmer will need the SNP to support his campaign for Prime Minister, so I'm sure he'll give Scotland the independence vote, and this time Scotland has to be ready for independence. Alan says, I disagree that Starmer has to make inroads into Scotland. Scotland is lost to Labour. His best bet is to write Scotland off, recognise our right to self-determination, and as such, make Labour an English SNP. In my opinion, such a party would clean up at the next hopefully Scotland-free general election. Christine says, I was a traditional Scottish Labour voter, even though my Labour was more akin to people like Tony Benn. I had my light bulb moment in 2014 and voted yes to independence as a Labour voter, never having voted SNP. Since 2014, I now vote SNP as for me it's the only way to rid Scotland of Westminster Tory governments and to achieve independence. I still can't get my head around English working class voting Tory. Graham says, from what I've seen, he has a measure of the current Prime Minister, toffee. He strips him apart with ease. I'm an independent supporter, by the way. However, I like to acknowledge skill. Dave?
There's a story in my, not exactly my family. Oh man, that's a problem. About somebody going to a theater that when VCRs first came out, they were at the movie theater. They got into a screaming match. You can't put it on pause for somebody to go to the goddamn
Welcome to the Alex Salmon Show from stricken Aberdeenshire in Scotland. We return today to the subject which has swept even the COVID crisis
never skip
off
back
the front pages of social media and the television screens over the last few weeks. The killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis has sparked waves of protests across the United States and internationally. From London to Pretoria, from Sydney to Glasgow, people have taken to the streets demanding justice and racial equality.
Told these idiots,
Many have held banners with the proclamation that Black Lives Matter, or some have kneeled. Many have stood in silence for 8 minutes 46 seconds. The time George Floyd was struggling to breathe while police officers detained him and killed him. In the United States, President Trump has come under sustained fire from retired generals for suggesting that regular troops might be deployed in the streets across the United States. The imagery of a president cowering in the White House bunker while peaceful protesters were dispersed with tear gas may not be one which is conducive to his re-election prospects. Today we examine this wave of protests from the human angle. We ask a bereaved mother from Baltimore about the personal pain of the killing of her son at the hands of the police. She took her campaign all the way to the gates of the Obama White House. And then we ask a young woman activist from Chicago what has motivated her to be involved in the demonstrations. And then to place this new wave of protest in its historical context, we turn to Medea Benjamin, who gives an assessment of why this time round it might really make a difference. But first, to Tasmina in Glasgow. We just tweet your emails and your messages.
This is a better episode. You keep trying to turn it like this.
In response to our show last week on Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer's first report card featuring commentator Steve Richards and Professor Richard Murphy, Ali says Starmer has done brilliantly. Very clear, very concise, very measured. Basically the opposite of Boris Johnson. Everyone can see he has been on toast at PMQs. Sheila says, I think Keir Starmer will need the SNP to support his campaign for Prime Minister, so I'm sure he'll give Scotland the independence vote. And this time, Scotland has to be ready for independence. Alan says, I disagree that Starmer has to make inroads into Scotland. Scotland is lost to Labour. His best bet is to write Scotland off, recognise our right to self-determination, and as such, make Labour an English SNP. In my opinion, such a party would clean up at the next, hopefully Scotland-free general election. Christine says, I was a traditional Scottish Labour voter even though my Labour was more akin to people like Tony Benn. I had my light bulb moment in 2014 and voted yes to independence as a Labour voter, never having voted SNP. Since 2014 I now vote SNP as for me it's the only way to rid Scotland of Westminster Tory governments and to achieve independence. I still can't get my head around English working class voting Tories. Graham says, from what I've seen, he has a measure of the current Prime Minister. Toffee. He strips them apart with ease. I'm an independent supporter, by the way. However, I like to acknowledge skill. David says, I'm looking for a new Democratic Socialist Party now that Labour has gone back to Blairism. Rab says, I think Starmer's playing a game here. Boris told him that there will be a deal. Starmer will hold him to his word. Whether that's enough to topple Boris is doubtful, but it could be the only mechanism. Gillian says, Keir Starmer will no doubt win support from some disgruntled Tory voters. However, he is far from the socialist dream of the grassroots Labour supporters. I see another Tony Blair on the horizon. And finally, Mary says, is England on a whole socialist? I'm not so sure. Labour might be heading for the same old dance again. Not left enough for Scotland, and not right enough for England. Time will tell.
On October the 28th, 2008, Darlene Kane lost her son to a shooting incident at the hands of the Baltimore police after officers were called to an alleged domestic dispute. Darlene turned her grief into a campaign for justice, and with other mothers found Mothers on the Move, who took their initiative and their campaign all the way to the gates of the Obama White House. Darlene joins me from Baltimore. Darlene Kane, how did the death of George Floyd affect the community in Baltimore, and how did it impact on you personally?
Well, in Baltimore, people were outraged because we too have a problem with police brutality in our city and accountability. It affected me deeply because it opened up old wounds for me to think about my son and how he was shot and killed and gunned down by the police. And many mothers in Baltimore contacted me and told me how they were feeling, and they were restless, like, I can't sleep. Like, what can we do? How can we get a movement in reference to this? This has to stop today.
Now, in his last moments, George Floyd was seen calling out for his mom, calling out for his mother. Did that have a particular impact on you and others?
Yes, it was so heartbreaking because I felt helpless. I felt like he couldn't get his mother. I felt like there was no one there to protect him except for to film everything that was going on to his last breath. And it's just a hopeless, horrible way, inhumane to see somebody die like that.
Now, you lost your own son, Dale, to police violence back in 2008. Tell us a bit about what happened to your son.
So, first of all, the detectives came to my house a day later, so I didn't even know my son had got killed for 1994.
I didn't know until when he went to the funeral home that he was shot 5 times. And I only could go by what they told me, that it was a domestic dispute and that they thought that he had a hand knife. And I never went to court. I never got a chance to go to court or have evidence. It was just justified.
And how did you deal with that news, with that extraordinary impact of the loss of a son? How did you channel your grief?
Well, first, after feeling so betrayed, because Dale's coach in Baltimore County was police officers when he played football when he was a teenager. And I had a good relationship with Baltimore City police officers because a friend of mine, most of her family were police. So I had a great relationship with police. So when he died, I felt so betrayed. It just made me one day want to get up and stop sleeping and laying around doing nothing. And I said, I got to take a stand. And I've got to do something. And Mothers on the Move came in my mind. And I said, I got to speak out. I just have to. Like, I can't sit down. I've got to do something.
I hate cops. Hey, I
and
don't
in
want you to shoot at
2014,
the black
you and other
ones,
mothers took your campaign all the way to the gates of the White House. Tell us a bit about that experience and what reaction there was to the sight of you and other mothers saying this has to stop. The police violence which killed our sons has to come to an end.
Told you that.
Well, just getting an initial phone call,
she's the biggest
I couldn't believe it that somebody was going to call me. Just me, a lady from Baltimore City who wasn't a real high-profile mother. And to be honored to be among those powerful women from across the country, to go have our voices heard, to let them know that we needed accountability and we have to have it. Because we cannot continue to let what's going on today and yesterday to continue. We must stand up and fight. And those are, I love those ladies. We stay in contact with each other. And I'm thankful that they're still standing and they're still fighting every day.
And over the years, as you're well aware, there have been so many deaths of young men in particular, and predominantly people of color from ethnic minorities in the United States. What hopes do you have that the latest reaction to the killing of George Floyd will finally be the moment where America turns the corner and finds the justice which you seek?
Well, my prayers today is that we will finally get indictment, that police officers who are wrongfully killing and hurting and beating people will go to jail, because this is not something that we can do. We will go to jail if we've done it. They have on a badge, a gun, and a uniform, but they have to go home and their fathers and their uncles, just like regular people are when they take off their uniform. So they have to realize that they have to think that they have family too. They cannot be above the law at no particular time. And that's where I tell people when I speak that mental health is real. They have mental health as well in the police department. And they need to have help. Those officers need to get help. And too many of them being hired that's been in the military, that's been in the wars, and that they're retired and they're working for the police.
Darling, when you and other mothers took your campaign to the gates of the White House, were you disappointed that the first black president of the United States, Barack Obama, wasn't able to do more to meet your cry for justice, that more change wasn't introduced in terms of the changes that you were seeking?
Honestly, I really thought that we were going to meet the president, even though we met his staff and representatives. I was disappointed that after having that meeting, that no changes have been made in the police department around the nation. Nothing has been changed.
And this is something particularly powerful when a mother speaks about the death of a son. Is there something particularly powerful that gets the message across of that sense of loss and emptiness?
I'll have to tell you.
It's a great feeling knowing that people remember your child. When someone calls you up and say, we need to know, can you speak? Or when you go out in the crowd and they recognize you and they say, we have mothers standing right here. We have mothers who are out here fighting all the time. We have mothers who are in the streets, who are out here, boots to the street, boots to the ground. And it's a really good feeling to be recognized when I'm out there. It really is, because you earn so much respect, because they feel like You're standing up. I want to stand up because so many people are just afraid.
What would be your message to rally people to pursue that sense of
You just need to visit Pelham Park Gardens.
Well, I would say to everyone that don't give up. We are going to get what we want, and the police departments and the commissioners are going to have to listen to our demands. So we're demanding that people who are mistreating us, police officers, law enforcers, will be incarcerated for their actions. Not just fired from their jobs, but not to give up. That we are going to do it together because we can't do it alone.
And is it, Darlene, a change in the White House that's required, or is it a change in the hearts of men and women, and local change in the police department in Baltimore and indeed the police departments across the United States? What's the key change that's required?
The key change is to have everyone to vote and encourage people who haven't been voting to vote. And we need new people in office. My opinion is maybe some younger people who have the strength and the energy to do the job. And also, we do not have a president who's on our side or who's thinking about people, period, about making sure that America is safe from police officers who are harming us.
Darren Kane from Baltimore, thank you very much for appearing on the Alex Salmon Show.
So this is
Thank you so much.
And coming up after the break, we discuss how young people across America are rallying to the banner of protest, and we place the current initiatives in a historical context. Join us then. Welcome back. The protests following the slaying of George Floyd have swept the world. But what has been the particular impact on young women in America? Taylor Ulmer joins me from Chicago. Taylor Ulmer, you're a graduate, a Truman Scholar. What has motivated you to get involved in these protests over the last few weeks?
What motivated me, I think, it's by virtue of my lived experience as a Black American woman. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and growing up having, experiences and encounters with police brutality myself, those around me, but also the prevalence of racism within the country and touching every aspect of the lived experience, from education to health disparities to voting, the list goes on and on. And, I implore everyone, I'm not a, full-time protester. I'm not a, full-time civil rights activist, by title. I'm a regular person, but it's the regular people that are standing up to say that these are injustices and that we must, seek change in our lives for myself and for my future children, grandchildren, and so forth.
And tell me about Taylor Ulmer, about the sort of people you've met on the protests. Have they come from all walks of life and all communities?
Trying to cut this over and over again.
Protest, when I'm still volunteering, it's such a rainbow of both races, but experiences, ages, genders, along the spectrum, so on and so forth. And so from that, it is inspiring to see that this is not something that is just my battle, but, it's slowly transforming, as it should be, to become our battle.
Because if I did meet their requirements, it would look ridiculous. They don't want me representing Canada. Ridiculous.
Examples of police brutality over the years in the United States. What is it about this killing, the killing of George Floyd, that has provoked this extraordinary action both across the United States and indeed across the world?
People are fed up. Enough is enough. I think that especially when the videos of George Floyd, Ahmaud, and hearing Breonna Taylor's family and Kenneth Walker's family speak, and seeing those recordings over and over again, you couldn't escape it, and you're at home, you're able to consume so much, and you could not escape it, and it boils people's blood. And I think that coupled with the fact that when you think about COVID-19 and how it has ravaged America, and how it's disproportionately impacted Black and brown communities, I think that in itself has incited a lot of rage and, has encouraged a lot of people to speak up about the injustices
A number of public figures, everybody from Meghan Markle to former President Obama, have said, look, this is really all about voting in November. This is about changing the occupant of the White House.
He called the white guy Chinese, he called the suntan guy brown,
something more to it than just voting.
Yeah, no, I think that's an excellent question, and you know, I definitely 100% agree. I definitely think that voting is essential and key, and I also think that, you know, in parallel to voting, it's also important to think about the cultural implications and how we need to shift our minds. These racial tension is so embedded within American culture and within American ideology because it's so pervasive. It's in every facet of society, and politics alone will not change it, but I definitely think that it's a great and important start.
So I summed it up by saying he waved his gun at me.
The civil rights movement in the United States has a long history. You and your colleagues are standing on the shoulders of giants. Is there a message you hope to pass on to the next generation, to your own children in the future, perhaps, about what happened in 2020? If you had a message to pass on,
somebody dismissing that culture is a rapist.
I think that, you know, I'm hoping that the message that I have to pass on is that we've come to a point where I don't need to pass on a message, you know. To my future children, you know, mommy is trying to do the hard work for you so that I don't, or you don't rather, have to do that in the future.
Taylor, in this social media age, you'll be very aware of the international nature of these protests. How big an impact has that been on the protests in the United States?
I think that it has been extremely inspiring to see the global outline. You know, I've had the fortunate opportunity to be able to travel the world and also live abroad. I actually studied as a Marshall Scholar in the UK. And, you know, to understand race and global anti-Blackness from the British perspective, to having, you know, friends send me from Liberia pictures of people protesting, you know, from Brussels to Brazil to, I mean, it literally has become a global movement. And with that being said, you know, I think that the movement has been coined Black Lives Matter, Black Futures Matter, Black Love Matter. But matter is just the minimum.
Olives.
Black lives are cherished. They're beloved. They're important. And they're essential to the world in much the same way as all other lives. But right now, we're focusing on Black lives because they have been disproportionately impacted.
They do the first letter.
Taylor in Chicago,
was the first three letters.
Thank you so much for appearing on the Alex Salmon Show. And good luck to you and your colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, there are few people who know more about the recent history of protest in the United States than the co-founder of Code Pink, Medea Benjamin, not least because she's organized many of them. Medea joins me from Miami, Florida. Medea Benjamin, we've seen...
No, you see what you did there? Gives a hashtag. Like Code Black Comedy, you're belittling already. You tried to change the subject already, so I got a better idea. So it's 4:32 and 10 seconds. No, it's up. So this says so it's 12:32, right? That's a nice delay. Well, you didn't put the signal back on telling me we're transmitting, so. Else is flying and all the planes are for sale. I've got the smugglers blues.
Roger Monteau, bonjour. George Floyd a...
That's the national anthem of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So apparently, while I'm trying to switch to music and clear the other thing, it just froze. I can't swipe on nothing. Okay, fine. Switch to the music, whatever. That's what ate up 2 minutes there. So this he's like third generation partial Japanese and white. Yeah, so he's like 32nd or 2% or whatever the fuck you're measuring it as. He's got the nationalist, fascist, socialist view. Hey, 350 years undefeated till you fucked with the Americans, eh? The Micmac-backed army. So, the reason he could be so dismissive of the things I said to him, he is a rapist. He is a rapist. I've got you all nailed, man. And from the things I say and the reactions you give, I know exactly. Yeah, the one that wants to whatever, he got the Jamaican influence. I don't know if he's Jamaican blood. He looked like just a white guy, but he acts like a Jamaican cop. Shoot first, ask questions there? Nah, shoot them all. No one asks no questions. I don't know Jamaican styles. Wow. So.
été tué le 25 mai par un... Roger Monteau, bonjour. George Floyd a été tué le 25 mai par un policier blanc à Minnesota. Cet incident soulève le problème du racisme et des violences policières contre le noir aux États-Unis. Que vous inspire le racisme?
This is a Congolese man that's been living in the United States. I think he's said 35 years. He's about to tell you all that.
Le racisme en général et son impact sur le noir et les Africains dans ce pays.
Merci d'abord, Julie, de me donner cette opportunité de parler dans votre radio qui est si réputée, si connue partout dans le monde. C'est pour moi une opportunité. Vous savez, ça fait plus de 32 ans ou 33 ans, je ne me rappelle pas, que je suis dans ce pays. C'est un problème qui devient récurrent après tant d'années et je pense que c'est cela qui a poussé les Afro-Américains et la communauté afro-américaine et aussi les Africains qui sont aux États-Unis, bien sûr accompagnés des Blancs qui sont américains et des Hispaniques, les Asiatiques qui se sont mis ensemble pour dire mais non, ça doit s'arrêter parce que chaque année il y a un cas de racisme où on tue la brutalité policière, je veux dire. Et donc ça arrive à un point où le peuple s'élève ensemble pour dire non. Et c'est pour ça on voit toutes ces manifestations qui se sont déroulées partout en Georgie, en Alabama, en Missouri, en Caroline du Sud. Et bien sûr, on se rappellera aussi les lois des Jim Crow, qui sont des lois qui étaient instaurées avant ici, et c'était un véritable apartheid ici aux États-Unis. Et donc les gens pensent que c'est une continuation de ces lois-là, et ils s'élèvent comme un. On a vu dans plus de 140 États ici aux États-Unis, les gens ont marché jusqu'aujourd'hui, et les gens continuent à marcher. Ce week-end, j'étais dans la capitale, j'ai encore vu des gens qui sont venus de 4 coins des États-Unis pour marcher, pour réclamer, pour dire non au racisme, pour dire que, comme ils disent en anglais, enough is enough. Et aussi, dois-je ajouter, Julie, que dans tous les cas qui ont précédé avant George Floyd, et c'est ce que les Américains réclament.
Maybe I can accept the loan word of weekend if I think of it as, in English, they've taken the word week and end and made it one word. What do they call that? Un portmanteau. So because it's a portmanteau, maybe it's acceptable to use it in French. Fin de semaine is longer. These Québécois will never accept your reasoning.
Parce qu'il faut qu'une justice soit faite certes, mais parce qu'on a vu dans le passé où les policiers qui commettaient ce genre de bavure étaient soit mis en liberté ou n'étaient pas inquiétés du tout. Et c'est ce qui a fait aussi à ce que les gens qui protestaient puissent réclamer une justice vraiment claire et juste. Vous avez vu qu'au début, on avait juste arrêté le monsieur qui avait mis son genou sur George Floyd, mais après on a vu que les 4 policiers impliqués dans le meurtre de George Floyd avaient été inculpés aussi et étaient mis en détention. Et cela, c'est suite à ce que réclamaient les Américains.
Et justement, en réponse à cette mort de George Floyd, les protestations, plus largement à la violence policière contre d'autres Noirs, se sont rapidement répandues aux États-Unis et à l'étranger. Vous avez participé samedi à la marche de Washington et pensez-vous que le message soit passé? Et qu'est-ce qui justifie la présence des Blancs que l'on a vus parmi les manifestants à Washington exactement?
Eh bien, la présence, ce qui explique la présence des Blancs, c'est parce qu'il ne faut pas oublier que la plus grande partie des Américains sont des Blancs et il y a beaucoup de ces Blancs-là qui se sont mélangés après toutes ces années avec les Afro-Américains, qui sont aussi contre l'injustice qu'ils voient dans leur système et ils ont décidé d'accompagner leurs frères et sœurs afro-américains pour réclamer la justice. Et d'après eux, c'est plus une affaire de noir ou de blanc, c'est une affaire américaine. C'est un problème américain. C'est un problème dans la justice américaine, d'après eux. Donc, ils doivent tous être ensemble pour se soutenir. Ce groupe de manifestation était composé des groupes divers. Le mouvement, on l'a vu, venait de partout. Ils étaient hétérogènes. Voilà, de la première partie.
Et alors, que diriez-vous de l'interaction noir-américain et africain? Et que pensez-vous de la vie des Congolais aux États-Unis, même face aux non-policiers?
Je pense qu'il y a encore une barrière. Je pense qu'il y a une petite fraction des Afro-Américains qui comprennent l'Afrique parce que peut-être ils ont eu aussi la chance d'aller en Afrique. Vous savez, quand vous n'avez jamais été à un endroit, vous n'avez aucune idée. Donc, les Afro-Américains ne sont pas totalement comme les Africains. Et c'est 2 cultures différentes. Même si nous sommes tous de la peau noire, nos cultures ne sont pas les mêmes cultures. Et donc, je pense qu'il y a un grand travail à faire de 2 côtés pour qu'il puisse y avoir une certaine symbiose, entente entre les 2 peuples, parce que je pense que 2 fois ils se comprennent pas. Moi j'ai rencontré des Afro-Américains, amis à moi, qui disent que les Africains, ne comprennent pas leur combat, les Africains ne comprennent pas d'où ils viennent, où ils vont avec leur combat, et les Africains aussi qui sont aux États-Unis, qui pensent que les Afro-Américains sont violents envers eux, c'est ce que tu entends. Mais ceux-là qui s'entendent, vraiment s'entendent bien et se supportent. Parce que comme je vous disais au début, ce qu'il y a eu un grand groupe des Africains qui se sont mis derrière aussi ce mouvement de Black Lives Matter pour accompagner les Afro-Américains.
Quel est à ce jour l'impact des lois de l'immigration sur de nouveaux immigrants africains aux États-Unis?
Alors l'impact des lois de l'immigration sur les nouveaux immigrants africains aux USA, je ne pense pas qu'il y a un grand changement. Je ne pense vraiment pas. Par exemple, je sais que l'administration Trump, suspendant l'essentiel de l'immigration aux États-Unis, n'a pas eu d'impact direct sur les étudiants étrangers, par exemple. Par contre, cela a créé de l'anxiété et des doutes quant à leur capacité de rester et de travailler aux États-Unis. Ça, c'est autre chose après l'obtention de leur diplôme. Ça, c'est autre chose. Mais il n'y a pas eu assez d'impact, il n'y a pas trop de différence. Mais non, rester travailler aux États-Unis, ça, maintenant, je pense que là, il y a plusieurs enfin, là, les lois ont été rendues un peu dures.
Roger Moutou, en cette période préélectorale, pensez-vous que la situation actuelle ait des incidences sur l'élection présidentielle prochaine? Et si cela pouvait avoir des incidences, ce serait dans quel sens?
Vous savez, la politique, c'est la politique. Bien sûr que quand il y a un événement pareil et qu'il y a les élections qui arrivent, quel que soit le pays ou l'endroit, les politiciens, ils en profitent toujours pour bien profiter d'une occasion pareille Et donc je pense que oui, les politiciens vont vraiment profiter de cet événement pour soit essayer, et surtout les démocrates, parce que ce sont les républicains qui sont au pouvoir, donc les démocrates sûrement vont profiter pour...
I swear, somebody's banging on the bottom of my bathtub.
Essayer d'utiliser ce moment pour essayer de gagner plus de points contre les républicains. Donc je pense que pour eux, d'après eux, on les voit sur les réseaux sociaux, c'est une occasion. Et vous savez, cette affaire est venue se mélanger avec la pandémie de coronavirus qui a touché de manière disproportionnée les Afro-Américains aussi en même temps, avec des décès presque 2 fois plus importants que ce qu'on pourrait s'attendre en fonction de leur part de la population. De plus, la mort de Floyd et les troubles qui s'en suivent devraient aussi, bien sûr, clairement avoir un impact sur les élections de 2020. Enfin, c'est ce que moi je pense. Bon, n'empêche aussi qu'il ne faut pas ignorer qu'il y a un grand groupe de libéraux blancs et des jeunes. Il y a aussi les hispaniques, il y a d'autres minorités aussi, les asiatiques, qui sont aussi nombreux. Donc, let's wait and see. C'est ce que je dirais.
Et en ce qui vous concerne, Roger, durant toutes ces années aux États-Unis, avez-vous déjà vécu un cas des violences policières? Connaissez-vous des Congolais qui se sont retrouvés violentés par la police? Et quel est votre état d'esprit en vivant dans un environnement pareil?
Je vais peut-être vous choquer pour vous dire que moi-même, j'ai vécu cela. Aussi, ça va de la façon dont vous répondez à ces policiers-là, parce que des fois, vous sentez comme si ils sont en train de vous provoquer. Mais si vous êtes calme, plusieurs fois, moi ça m'est arrivé, tu sentais vraiment qu'ils étaient en train de te provoquer. Une fois, pour une petite anecdote que je pourrais vous raconter, une fois je conduisais ma voiture sur l'autoroute, il y a un policier qui me suivait derrière, il m'a vu, il m'a dit de me mettre à côté, je me mets à côté, il vient, il met mes notes, il me met à côté, il me pousse. Bien après, je vois 8 autres voitures de policiers qui viennent derrière et ils entrent dans ma voiture, ils regardent, ils fouillent, ils regardent et moi je suis menotté, je suis par terre, je me demande mais pourquoi je suis menotté? Il y a une dame policière qui est à côté de moi qui me dit on a eu une information de votre voiture et c'est une voiture volée en Caroline du Sud. Moi j'ai dit waouh, ben non, ça fait plus de 15 ans que j'ai cette voiture là, donc on n'a pas volé, moi j'ai cette voiture, ça fait 15 ans. Et après c'est leur chef qui vient qui dit bah écoutez enlevez les menottes, on s'excuse messieurs, on s'était trompé. Voilà, mais donc dans des cas comme ça, si je m'étais énervé, bon, Dieu seul sait ce qui m'arriverait. Cela n'empêche qu'aussi qu'en tant qu'une personne de couleur dans ce pays, on essaie de dire à nos enfants, écoutez, quand un policier vous arrête, essayez de respecter les policiers, essayez de respecter ce que le policier vous demande, parce que il faut pas non plus oublier ici que les policiers ont aussi un travail difficile à faire. Il y a une grande partie des policiers américains qui sont des gentlemen qui savent bien faire leur boulot. Cela est très important, Julie, à signaler, moi je pense. Donc, il y a beaucoup de policiers qui respectent les gens, qui font leur boulot comme il le faut, mais il y a ceux-là aussi qui n'arrêtent pas de commettre des bavures, malheureusement. Vous savez, après toutes ces années où les Martin Luther King ont marché contre ça pour réclamer leurs droits civiques, et les gens ne peuvent pas comprendre que cela arrive encore aujourd'hui. Les gens que j'ai vus à la marche à Washington disent exactement ça.
Et pour finir, Roger Monteau.
Oui, juste pour finir, Julie, moi je pense aussi que je vais ajouter, il ne faut pas que l'image des États-Unis soit ternie par ce qui est arrivé, parce que oui, c'est vrai que cela a créé de mouvements partout dans le monde, mais les gens doivent aussi comprendre que nous sommes à plus de 300 millions d'habitants ici, et les États-Unis, c'est un pays de loi et de droit, et d'ailleurs c'est pour ça il y a tout ce mouvement qui se passe quand on tue une seule personne comme ça, une vidéo que tout le monde a vue, tout le monde se lève pour dire non, et donc il faut aussi voir le côté positif de ce pays où on tue une personne comme ça. Il y a des pays, et je vous apprends rien, Julie, il y a des pays où les gens meurent matin, midi, soir, mais les gens ne se lèvent pas comme ça. Et voilà un pays de droit, un pays de loi, un pays de justice, où quand cela arrive, on se met tous debout comme une seule personne, et la justice doit faire son travail. Et donc je pense qu'il faut aussi qu'on voit le côté positif des lois américaines et de la justice américaine.
Merci à vous.
Merci beaucoup encore une fois, Julie, pour ce privilège que vous m'avez donné.
Roger Montou, bonjour. George Floyd a été tué le 25 mai par un policier blanc à Minnesota. Roger Montou.
This is a lot darker than the other ones. You buy seeds at the store from a company that you know goddamn well is all the way up worried about white people. They're doing the exact opposite of what
Roger Montou, bonjour. George Floyd a été tué le 25 mai par un policier blanc à Minnesota. Cet incident soulève le problème du racisme et des violences policières contre le noir aux États-Unis. Que vous inspire le racisme en général et son impact sur le noir et les Africains dans ce pays?
Pousser les Afro-Américains et la communauté afro-américaine et aussi les Africains qui sont aux États-Unis, bien sûr accompagnés des Blancs qui sont Américains, et des Hispaniques, des Asiatiques qui se sont mis ensemble pour dire mais non, ça doit s'arrêter parce que chaque année il y a un cas de racisme.
You're so goddamn amazing. Oh, it's coming back.
Je veux dire, et donc ça arrive à un point où
there it is. I'm amazed.
Ensemble,
I'm amazed.
Non, et c'est pour ça on voit toutes ces manifestations qui se sont déroulées partout en Georgie, en Alabama, en Missouri, en Caroline du Sud. Et bien sûr, on se rappellera aussi les lois des Jim Crow, qui sont des lois qui étaient instaurées avant ici. C'était un véritable apartheid ici aux États-Unis. Et donc, les gens pensent que c'est une continuation de ces lois-là. Et c'est l'air commun. On a vu dans plus de 140 États ici aux États-Unis, les gens ont marché jusqu'aujourd'hui et les gens continuent à marcher. Ce week-end, j'étais dans la capitale. J'ai encore vu des gens qui sont venus de quatre coins des États-Unis pour marcher, pour réclamer, pour dire non au racisme, pour dire que, comme ils disent en anglais, enough is enough. Et aussi, dois-je ajouter, Julie, que dans tous les cas qui ont précédé avant George Floyd, et c'est ce que les Américains réclament en fait, c'est qu'il faut qu'une justice soit faite, mais parce qu'on a vu dans le passé où des policiers qui commettaient ce genre de bavure étaient soit mis en liberté ou n'étaient pas inquiétés du tout. Et c'est ce qui a fait aussi à ce que les gens qui protestaient puissent réclamer une justice vraiment claire et juste. Vous avez vu qu'au début, on avait juste arrêté le monsieur qui avait mis son genou sur George Floyd, mais après on a vu que les 4 policiers impliqués dans le meurtre de George Floyd avaient été inculpés aussi et étaient mis en détention. Et cela, c'est suite à ce que réclamaient les Américains.
Et justement, en réponse à cette mort de George Floyd, les protestations, plus largement à la violence policière contre d'autres Noirs, se sont rapidement répandues aux États-Unis et à l'étranger. Vous avez participé samedi à la marche de Washington. Et pensez-vous que le message soit passé? Et qu'est-ce qui justifie la présence des Blancs que l'on a vu parmi les manifestants à Washington exactement?
Eh bien, la présence, ce qui explique la présence des Blancs, c'est parce qu'il ne faut pas oublier que la plus grande partie